What is up, RotoGrinders NFL Pick 6 Show, Week 5. It's Wednesday night, 8 o'clock. You know, that's what we're doing. Talking about the NFL DFS slate for week number 5. Myself, Dean Shavelson, joined as always, John Daigle, ETR, Establish the Run, Rich Hribar, Sharp Football Analysis. You got TJ's words behind the glass. Later on, we'll bring in Rob Coakley from Hometown Ghost Stories, as well as Spike Week. We talk about our movie. We'll be doing that after we talk about tonight's, the upcoming week 5 NFL DFS slate. And man, it's 10 games. We have bye weeks. A lot of good players are not on this slate. We have injuries once again. A lot of potential cheapies when it comes to some running backs. Out of bye week, Atlanta, Chicago, Green Bay, Pittsburgh, San Fran, and the Rams playing on Thursday. Whoever's left of San Francisco at least playing on Thursday. Another game in London. Game. Yeah, what a mess that's going to be for sure. We're down to 10. 6 early, 4 late. Rich, how are things? Happy week 5, happy quarter pole, and a little bit more than the quarter pole.
Yeah, this is kind of the first week where it felt like just chaos, right? Like just Daigle does the waiver wire comp, so he probably felt it a little more than me. I can adjust to like these players when they're out, but I mean it's absolutely just nightmarish right now. I mean, we had Neighbors get lost of the year. Tyreek's ankle was sideways on Monday night. We have no healthy offensive linemen in the NFL apparently. Like it's Bucky's in a cast, like our walking boot. Like it's just it's week 5, man. Like it's week 5. The 49ers are in fielding an offense like tomorrow.
We're gonna have a lot of Daigle. I'm curious. You probably are fielding a lot of Michael Carter, DeMarcado, maybe Rico Dowdle, Tucker White. Are these the questions you've been handling for the last 24 hours?
I swear to you, if you ask me any questions about Amari DiMercado, I'm leaving this show. This is supposed to be the safe space, a trust tree where I get to escape those dumb questions. I get it. Everyone's panicking. So, of course, we need to have conversations about it. But that's for season long. We don't necessarily need to worry about those guys for this show, thankfully.
Yeah. Possibly. I mean, like you're an 8-point home favorite against Tennessee. You have a 25.
That is true. We talked about last week how the Texans shouldn't be favored by a touchdown against anyone except for the worst coach team in the entire league. They then shut them out. Maybe we'll get into a little bit of Michael Carter here.
Yeah, I know. Rich mentioned offensive line. Even some of the offensive lines that are healthy. I don't know if they're healthy or not, but that sack that the Titans had on Houston last week, which I don't know if we've ever seen a faster sack in the history of football. Houston is on this slate, so it's a 10-game slate, but really it's a 9-game slate because you can't play anybody against them. And I guess you can play some offensive players, but I don't know, man. They're the worst team for fantasy, right? If we're picking a worst team for fantasy, both ways, like being involved in a game. Am I wrong to say it's Houston, Rich, or is there somebody else? Who am I missing?
No, that's pretty close, right? Like I would say Houston off the top of my head. Yeah.
I don't know who else would be. I'm not sure.
That's underwhelming the most?
No, just like you don't want to play against them, and you don't really want to play
just like for fantasy football.
Just being a part of a game, like they just muck it up on both sides. I mean, sure, there's Nico Collins, and we might have a running back fully unleashed at some point for Houston. We'll see.
Yeah, because Houston's 29th in offensive PPR points, and they've allowed the fewest.
There you go. That's the point. That's a much quicker way of saying what I was trying to say.
We say all these things only for me to tease talking about CJ Stroud at the end of this show.
Oh, yeah.
No. Also, the Philadelphia Eagles are 28th in the NFL in fantasy points.
Not offense. Fun to watch.
And everyone is feeling that one. That's like one when you say someone, everyone's got a piece. Everyone's felt a piece of that Eagles offense already this first month.
The chat is thrown about Cleveland. Cleveland's a good option as well. They're also considered the same sort of conversation.
The good thing is the two good teams Cleveland's faced have gotten there on them.
Yeah. Also, the Philly thing, and I'm sure at this by now everybody's kind of heard that officially they did not complete a pass in the second half. That is correct. That's not a stat that was made up. That was a real stat, right? It did not. Wasn't it? Once they had the punt run back for a touchdown and it was 7-0, it's like, well, there goes all the Philly stacks. They're dead. They're dead immediately without ever having an offensive snap.
Wasn't it -3 yards of offense, Rich, in the second half?
Oh my God.
Yeah,
it was either 3 or -3. I can't remember.
Listen, my hot take is I think Hurts was concussed on the play he slid. because after that play, he because we saw this a couple years ago too on a Thursday night game. I swear Hurts was concussed, and then he played awful like the rest of the game. I think he played Washington. It was like it was last year. I think here's a play where he slid and he got smoked. I think there was a penalty on the play. I think he was concussed, man, the rest of that game.
I mean, that certainly could have been the case. And then you have A.J. Brown still upset. I guess he's kind of sort of walked that back to some degree. But if you want to do the squeaky wheel thing again with A.J. Brown.
I mean, Kevin Patullo like went from no one even knew who this dude was like a month ago. Like no one even knew Kevin Patullo. And like now he's like a villain. Like everyone mad.
All right. This is your first time here. Do hit that like button, subscribe, turn on notifications. You guys are hanging out with us on the YouTube, watching us live. We do appreciate that. We knock out the three main games. And by the way, spoiler alert, Daigle, I mean, look, I get why you picked these games, but at least 5 of these teams are terrible. I think 5 of these teams are terrible. We're talking a lot of terrible teams. Then we'll run it back and we'll talk about our fair plays, position by position, amongst the games, amongst the teams we've not yet discussed. And yeah, Wednesday night, we're assuming, tell me otherwise if I got this wrong. We're assuming Lamar's not going to play. We're assuming it's going to be Cooper Rush. Neighbors, like you said, of course, is out. Tyreek, we're never going to see. Alec Pierce, I assume he's back, and there's no sequel to the A.D. Mitchell experiment.
Oh, my God.
That was last week.
Oh, dude, I had people like tweeting me. Oh, I was so pumped. My son is going like watching him going crazy because he first of all he made a sick catch. Like that catch that he had was sick.
Everybody forgets it. Everybody forgets it. He caught it with his elbow.
Dude, he's going down this. I'm like going crazy because I got so much A.D. Mitchell. This dude, and I knew that it was an absolute fumble because he tried to. The way he reacted, you knew. Like I didn't even need to see the replay because the way he reacted, you knew he fumbled it.
And just for fun, he got a holding penalty on Jonathan Taylor's 50-yard touchdown as well, just for funsies. And yeah, I told you guys, I had Mitchell in the red zone. I think I had him on the place the team that finished 5th. And you can't help yourself. You got to do it. You got to see how many teams in front of you had Mitchell. I think, if everything else stays the same, and who knows, sliding doors and all that. But I think we would have finished 3rd. But still a good week, but kind of a bummer.
So he wasn't in the winning lineup at only 3,100?
He may have been, but 3 of the 5 teams that were in front of me didn't have him or did have it. I would have jumped a couple teams. So what are you going to do? Still a good week. And
he missed the bonus by 4 yards.
Dude, he
had another catch.
Obvious, get over the field play, too.
Yeah. That's just how it goes sometimes. Sometimes these things,
the way it is, man. Just the way it is.
They work out in your favor sometimes, but
we got a over the field guy this week again. So let's see what happens. Oh, we'll talk about it he's in the 3 featured games. Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably an ugly name because there are some ugly teams we're going to talk about here in just a second. And again, with the buys and another London game, we're down to just 10 really, really quickly. So there's no Puka, there's no CMC, so I don't know how to start my cash lineups. Like, now what do I do? I can't start with Puka and CMC. Like, I don't get 60 free points right out the gate. Okay. I guess we got to really dig a little deeper on this.
I'm still going to play Puka, I think. We'll find a way.
You know a guy that can make it work for you?
We're going to play Thursday through Sunday just for Puka.
That's what we're doing.
We should say, by the way, this is obviously, we talk about the main slate, but since we kind of brought it up Thursday night, if you're playing showdown stuff on FanDuel, FanDuel goofed and they have Mac Jones at 1K. So you have to play. You have to play Mac. You have to, and this is like Luke Farrell's more expensive, I think, than 1K over there. Like everybody's cheaper than 1K. I don't know if they're going to change that or not, but if not, you just have to play him.
They did that with a running back last year, didn't they?
I think they did it with a running back, but it's just different when it's a starting quarterback. I mean, that's. We'll see how I assume most people will be on top of this. And I guess just the idea will be leaving salary on the table. But there you go. We don't do a lot of content for that, obviously. But just since it came up organically, Mac Jones is 1K on FanDuel, which is completely ridiculous. All right. Purdy's rolled out, if you didn't know. If you guys didn't. Everybody's rolled out for Sam.
Everybody's rolled out. And you should plan your date night on Thursday, because imagine watching a game where even both teams aren't showing up for that game.
Yeah, it's almost like they probably shouldn't play football games 3 days after they played a football game, probably.
I mean, money. Don't look at the schedule beyond this week, because we're going back internationally and doubleheaders on Monday Night Football. All they did was extend those things, so it only gets harder from here.
Well, I mean, they're not getting paid billions by Amazon for nothing. And
I'm not getting paid billions to write on Monday night. So,
well, you know what, Silva, you got to give at least $1 million bump to Daigle. All right, let's dive in. Let's talk about it. Let's knock out the first 3 games that we're going to discuss. First one that we're talking about here, I promised you some bad teams. Here they are. Daigle, we got Dallas at the Jets. And Dallas at least is fun. They're a fun bad team, right?
yeah.
They're great for fantasy. They're fun to watch. You have the whole Jerry spectacle in New York. 47.5 is the total. Braylon Allen, he's going to be out for a bit, so no Braylon Allen. 47.5 big boy total. It's going to be, we're expecting high and tight. The Jets are 2.5-point dogs here after losing to Miami, down 0-4. Where do you want to start here, Daigle? Is this already out the gate a nonsense play, the guy you teased, or not just yet?
Not yet. There are some nonsense plays that are actually good plays in this game. But let's go ahead and start with the Jets side of the ball, because what could possibly go wrong in Justin Fields' chalk week after all of us sit there in the third quarter as he has 7 passing yards against the Bills in week 2 in his last chalk week experience we had? It is a different situation, obviously, where the Cowboys are fun, first of all, even in losing CeeDee Lamb, but the number 1 offense, the number 32 defense, as everyone knows. And the Cowboys on the year so far have only played one really versatile quarterback that brings the same skill set to the table as Justin Fields. And Jalen Hurts in week 1 averaged 8 yards per carry with 62 rushing yards and 2 scores in that game. So clearly a good spot. The fun conversation to have is that since we lost Lamar Jackson, and Jalen Hurts does have a tougher matchup, not only in being in one of the league's worst and unwatchable offenses, but against the Broncos, really, if Justin Fields fails, it's kind of left for the entire table of any quarterback to take home a tournament, since like the rushing guys are kind of gone from here. So that's already makes it fun if you don't play Justin Fields. But also, if you were to play him, you clearly have the ball going in one direction. Garrett Wilson now 43%, 38%, 37%, 30% of the team's targets this year through 4 games. Mason Taylor is also going to be played in cash games most likely, because we're talking about a guy now who his target share has increased in every single game. On DraftKings in particular, he's 2,800, I believe it was. Dean, correct me if I'm wrong there. He's just a cheap guy you spend down on. And also, since the Cowboys, as we know, don't have the talent in their secondary, still playing a ton of zone coverage, leading the league in that department, or second in zone coverage. And Mason Taylor also has 12th in yards per catch against zone coverage too. So it's pretty easy just to get to Justin Fields, Garrett Wilson, or Fields and Mason Taylor. When do you want to start your stacks this week?
I can confirm Taylor is 2.8. How does he not get there? I guess he kind of sort of somewhat got there, but like in honorary captains, where it was Zach Thomas, his uncle, his dad, Jason Taylor, of course. He had a big game, but no Darren Waller. He was no Darren Waller, who got 2 touchdowns on like 4 routes or something like that. I can't remember what the route number was, but it wasn't a lot. But scoreboard, I suppose, if you're playing that 2-gamer on Monday nights. Rich, how excited are you about Dallas and the Jets? It looks pretty enticing for fantasy purposes, if nothing else.
Yeah, I'm into it, except for maybe just if we have lower play volume, if it's, the Jets are doing their Jets running the football thing. That would be the kind of the one way this game doesn't get there, because the Cowboys could be missing 3 offensive linemen, because everyone is, right? Just everyone is. That's like you're down a bunch of linemen. But to be fair, the Jets faced a team that was missing 3 offensive linemen 2 weeks ago and still gave up 26 points. So maybe we can still get there. So we have that in our back pocket. But yeah, you have to love kind of where Justin Fields is objectively on paper, and he is always a volatile play. But I mean, the Cowboys have allowed a top 8 score every week this season. Jalen Hurts, Russell Wilson, Caleb Williams, Jordan Love. They're also 29th in rushing points allowed per game to quarterbacks for fantasy. It's just really set up, and it's so clean because you know where the ball's going. And even if you want to, pivot and try to use Breece Hall, I mean, we have this Braylon Allen injury, which he doesn't have to deal with Braylon Allen, near the goal line. He still has to deal with Justin Fields near the goal line, but Braylon Allen had out-touched him 4-1 inside the 10-yard line to this point in the season. So Isaiah Davis is more of like a receiving back. So just more opportunities for Breece Hall too as well. Cowboys haven't been terrible against the run like they have been against the pass, but it's with the Jets, it's just very concentrated. They don't have really a wide receiver too they use at all. So we know where the ball's going in the offense. We know we want to attack the Cowboys. It's just, how many healthy bodies does the Cowboys have left now on offense to keep pushing this thing?
Jets wide receiver 2 is essentially probably Mason Taylor if you had to pick somebody, right? That's who it would be?
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah. It's not Smith or
it's Breece Hall
or Reynolds.
Really, it's actually Hall, but.
Yeah. What about Pickens as wide receiver 1, Rich? We buying Pickens for the foreseeable future, just as long as Lamb is not there, he's going to be the clear-cut guy?
This was part of the thesis, right? Like, even at face value, if Pickens was what he always has been, he was getting an upgraded environment for that role and an upgraded quarterback. And then he also had built-in contingency value playing behind one of the league's best wide receivers. And if that receiver were to go down, the rest of the depth chart, not that intoxicating. I mean, he already has 9 end zone targets. That's tied with Devontae Adams for the most in the year. So you have that touchdown equity. He scored in 3 games. In his first game without Lamb against what had been the league's hottest defense too. I mean, he had a league high 29% target share, 49% of the air yards. He's probably going to see some shadow coverage in this game, which could be one-on-one winning opportunities. The Jets have actually dialed it down, the man coverage, a little bit in recent weeks because they were getting kind of shredded. But if it were to happen, he'd have a chance to win one-on-one. Sauce hasn't even been that good either the past 2 weeks. So that would be a situation where he could still get over, even if it is a lot of Sauce shadow. The one guy I'm not as excited about as the field, I think, is still Jake Ferguson. Like, he's literally just getting by on just immense target volume, but he's not doing anything with it, really. He had the touchdown last week, his first touchdown since 2023, but like, dude, he's running like the all-time PPR scam, and right now, the all-time tight end premium. He's averaging 6.6 yards per catch, 5.7 yards per target. So granted, like, as long as they keep throwing, like, you're getting that. But I do feel like this is a game where you're not going to get the full-out passing volume we've had from the Cowboys. When you look at the Jets, no passer's thrown more than 30 passes against them in a game this season. It's just like not going to be that kind of game, I don't think. And we've had a lot of those kind of games for the Cowboys to date because the Jets run the football so much.
So do we like Javonte?
I don't think personally the volume's there. We also kind of got the first blemish for Javonte, and that makes sense last week, given that they were missing 2 starting offensive linemen, now missing 3. Javonte, the thesis was always that he's Chase Brown of 2024, that he's an every touch back playing in one of the most impotent offenses in the entire league. But now without their offensive line, without the volume, you have to question if Javonte Williams stays elevated, and I personally don't think so. The share of overall touches could definitely increase in this game because it looks like Miles Sanders is banged up. Jaden Blue profiles as more of a pass catching back, will most likely be active in his stead behind Javonte. But at the same time, without the volume, I don't think I'm going to get to Javonte, who again, even last week, just 2 forced missed tackles on his 20 carries. Otherwise, to this point, had been an explosive player, and the offense was moving the ball much better.
Richard, talking about the PPR scam about Ferguson, I'm curious, is it better or worse than Bowers? Because it feels like Bowers is running like whatever is left of his knee. He's gotten it out there, but I saw a stat. I can't recall what it was. I saw it was basically his routes are like 2, 3, 4, 5 yards, essentially. Is Bowers better or worse? Who's running the bigger PPR scam?
Well, no, we wish that Bowers could get actual targets, right? I mean, he was targeted on 30% of his routes last week. They just couldn't run any plays because Geno, like, we're doing this thing with Geno Smith every other week, man. Like, you can't get the Geno experiment right. He was awful again and against the Bears.
Is Geno bad again?
Who knows? He'll probably be good this week. Here's what it is. Geno will be good the weeks that I don't play him. The weeks I play him. Isn't that how like the fantasy thesis goes? Like,
we think it's about ourselves. Like, the reason why this guy is good is because I didn't play him because you matter that much. We do love doing that. So, Rich, if you're going to pick one quarterback to build around, is it Dak?
No, it's Fields.
Okay, and naked, or do you pair him?
You can, but I think it's just such a prime spot for Garrett Wilson, right? Like, Daigle talked about the usage and then just the matchup. Like, the Cowboys are just getting absolutely flooded by wide receivers. They've had the league's highest catch rate, the highest yards per target, the highest touchdown rate to wide receivers. like the last 3 weeks, Neighbors 167, 2. Rome had 62 yards and a touchdown. Romeo Dobbs had 3 touchdowns. I mean, if you're just going to concentrate targets to one guy against this defense, like it's pretty hard to go against, Garrett Wilson.
This was the argument for Josh Jacobs last week too, is that the Cowboys were still not sure if they're even league average against the run. Like, I don't think they are, but it's so easy to pass the ball in them that no team cares. Like, they'll just clearly move the ball down the field as Jordan Love did, like the exact run out that everyone projected and wrote up in our matchups columns. It's exactly what happened because the Cowboys just cannot stop wide receivers whatsoever.
But Hall is probably the leverage move here for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You can play them with Justin Fields as well.
I mean, the Cowboys, even though they've been efficient in terms of like, running back runs, they're 9th in yards per carry. They're actually, though, 28th in success rate. They're 29th in first down and touchdown rate allowed to running backs. They're 22nd in rushing points allowed per game to running backs. And they're 24th in receiving points allowed per game to running backs. And Hall is second on the team in targets. Hall feels like the move if you want to go against the grain on where people are going to probably play through this game.
Especially without Braylon Allen, who even on that opening drive, Braylon Allen not only got that goal line carry, he fumbled, but he had 4 touches to Breece Hall's 4. And now we're kind of removing that previous split that could have been happening.
Does Davis just fill in for Allen, or you think Hall gets a bigger chunk? He gets a bigger chunk, right? Yeah. Fields, Wilson, Pickens is like a super obvious like stack in this game. We're like Dak, Pickens, if you want to do Ferguson and Wilson as a
I imagine Ferguson's still going to be popular, right? Like, I haven't done anything, but I imagine on DraftKings he'll be popular.
The only reason I don't think he'll be popular is because Mason Taylor, again, salary at $2K less kind of helps out. If you play Dak, then maybe
we haven't seen that, though, really play out this year, and we don't really need the money still. Like,
that's the thing. We have the salary to pay up for tight end.
Based on early projections and the fact that he is $100 more expensive than Tyler Warren, I don't think he's going to be very, very chalky this week. He's coming in as like the 5th most highest projected owned guy.
And Warren's probably first again, right?
McBride and Warren.
Yeah, Warren's probably first. Because last year, the fantasy football DFS season morphed into where we had McBride, Kittle, Bowers like separate themselves in a tier, and a bunch of gamers just were like, well, we want to pay for running backs, receivers, so it was always pay down at tight end. Like, that's what the meta evolved into. This year, we haven't had like any salary restrictions. We haven't had a week yet, and we still don't have them this week. So, I mean, you're still playing a guy who's
paying up for CMC, and we're not paying up for Puka.
Like, and we're not playing. Yes, correct. Yeah, and to be fair, like, I don't have anything. I am fine to playing Mason Taylor, but like, I don't think the field still is going to glom onto him because this is a guy that before Monday night had 40 yards on the season. Like, it's not. I don't think it's like an actual glowing like smash play guy.
Although there are blemishes to Jake Ferguson for the floor reason, if you play Dak Prescott, you do play George Pickens and Jake Ferguson. That's where the ball's going. 50% of their targets, Dallas is the last 2 weeks without CeeDee Lamb. And we're also removing Kevontae Turpin's piece of the pie since it's trending towards him being out. So the ball goes 2 locations. I don't know if you're going to get the volume, but that's kind of the whole point in playing Dak Prescott is that you're just going to assume somehow you get the volume. And to be honest, there is no matchup right now. Even the Packers were that matchup that was supposed to stop Dallas. Dak is just so good. Like, he's playing at an MVP level that I'm not worried about any coverages or anything like that. Like, Pickens, Ferguson, they get the ball. You're just hoping it's 35 plus pass attempts.
I'm just looking at the most popular play on the slate right now is Jonathan Taylor. He's well positioned, mega, at home.
Because we have the money. Again, you have the money.
You got the money. It's very easy. It's very easy to get him. We're looking at like 30%. Actually, no, he's not the most popular. I did it by raw points, but he's close. Achan is 33%, but they're like 1 and 1A. 2 of the first players you're plugging in. Hampton looks still pretty good. He doesn't seem like his price moved enough. Tyler Warren is getting goal line carries to add to everything else.
That's what's going to make the slate interesting is if people even pay for any of these backup running backs because you don't like.
It's interesting. Yeah.
Because 2 weeks ago we had the chalky guys where it was Mason and I'm trying to think of who else it was where they were just both cheap.
Kenneth Walker.
And Kenneth Walker. And we all got everyone just played them. But this week, I don't know if everyone's going to get to an Arizona running back or Rachaad White.
Well, there's no Lamar to pay up for. There's no Josh Allen to pay up for. It's just at some point, like you might as well just burn your salary, I suppose.
I'm saying if Justin Fields fails, it's wide open. Like
and the receivers,
play whatever stack you have confidence in.
Yeah, and the receivers, no Puka. Jamar Chase is still priced higher than anyone is going to really want to take that bullet on, even though I think that you can make a pro case for him this week, actually. But if the fact that if it actually hurt Jamar Chase being on Monday for DFS this week because his pricing didn't get adjusted, because he would have come down at least to a degree. Because I think he's 9K on FanDuel still, which is like unplayable.
It's tough. He's 7-8 on DK, second most popular receiver behind the Sun God. I'm on Raw. Who's $100 more.
Sun God will be another dude we can get to this week for sure.
Anything else as far as Dallas and the Jets? We're moving on. All right, we are moving along. Game two. Rich, open it up for us. We're talking about the Giants at the Saints. 41.5 total. Saints 2.5 point home favorites. Looks like both are tight ends. Possibly we're working out. We'll see if they. I don't know how much that's going to matter. Maybe the Johnson experience takes a big hit or a hit of some sort, but I know TJ's on top of that. That's his team, the Saints, but we'll see. This is just Wednesday night. But,
they're doing it for you, TJ. Just competitive enough, losing games. They're sticking to the assignment here. Like, you're feeling all right? Like, it's like, all right, this is the way we're supposed to lose.
Foster Moreau and Taysom Hill may be back in our lives as well. TJ, you got something? I saw he popped on for a second, and then he jumped out. He got
I was just celebrating about what Rich said about the Saints.
There you go.
And on top of all that, Juwan Johnson DMP on a Wednesday, so you kind of have all these players mixing around.
Well, I want to throw it to Daigle because we always pick these games, and I always try to guess like what Daigle's going to pick, and sometimes he comes with a wild card. This is definitely. This one is definitely a wild card, so I kind of want to have him lead off and take us out of the box, set the table here for us.
He's got a funky receiver for us for sure.
I know his guy. He's obligated to mention him.
Yeah, we'll get to him, but no, it's an indoor environment. Giants and Saints, both teams who at least we know like what their defenses are. We got the exact run out we thought from Jackson Dart in his first game. 81% of his passes completed from a clean pocket, which was the 8th highest rate in week 4, and led every quarterback with 10 carries for 11.4 rushing points. The lone bad spot in Jackson Dart's first start was when the Chargers did rarely put pressure on him. He went 0 for 4. But putting pressure on the quarterback is something the Saints do not do, as they have quite literally the league's lowest pressure rate. Not to mention we remove Malik Neighbors, so it is clean for spending down with Jackson Dart, a rushing quarterback, for cheap on a wide open slate. And then, of course, the cheapie that I'm going to mention, the wild card, Darius Slayton, who last week, this is not a yearly bit. I don't mean to do this, but last year we saw Darius Slayton, the 2 games Malik Neighbors missed, 29.3% target share, 19 fantasy points. And when Malik Neighbors played, like this year, because Darius Slayton overlaps with Malik Neighbors, he cannot earn targets. Just 5.2 weekly fantasy points last year in the other games around Neighbors. Whereas Wan'Dale Robinson, I know everyone likes. I've even had to do show this week where people had to mention his 140 targets from 2023. Everyone forgets, first of all, that they couldn't even start him that year when he had 140 targets because he's just not the type of player that turns those upfield or gets targets beyond 5 yards of the line of scrimmage. Also, he's still living off of the career high 28 points he had against Dallas a few weeks back from Russell Wilson, because around that, he's still been Wan'Dale Robinson. 11.5, 3.6, and 4.4 fantasy points. Last week, he had a depth of target under 1 yard, even though Malik Neighbors left. And so I'm not saying like you can't play Wan'Dale Robinson. You can. But when you're talking about replacing the X receiver against a defense that is literally dead last in DVOA allowed to opposing wide receiver ones, because they really haven't played like the murderer's row slate of wide receiver ones just yet that could break them. I'm not saying Darius Slayton is that, but a rushing quarterback with Darius Slayton is a very cheap way indoors to begin our stacks. And so from there, if you want to piece together Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed, Taysom Hill, be at it. But I do think Jackson Dart stacks are very live on this slate.
Rich, are you less enthused about this game?
I'm fine with the Dart call. I mean, they only had a 43% drop back rate against the Chargers. Like, that's scary, right? Like Dart threw for 100 yards. Like, That's not winning us
20
anything.
attempts, yeah.
Like
Was
we
that Justin
need,
Fields?
we need, we need this game to kind of be a party. Like, right? Like you still need to have tournament worthy scores. And I have a hard time finding the path to tournament worthy scores in this game.
But you were on Bourbon Street for Super Bowl week. You know
That's true.
parties. That's all that happens in New Orleans. They party.
I can get with Slayton though for sure. I just knew I don't want to step on Dale because I knew he's contractually obligated to mention Darius Slayton when it's Darius Slayton time.
I always mention when there's something extreme in the blitz game level factors for Cardi, and this one has the most projected game plays by almost 4 plays versus the next team. The next team, next game, incidentally, not in the slate, San Fran and LA. So we're projecting, or Cardi's projecting, is a median projection 141 plays. The next game, 133. So we're expecting this game to be played pretty fast. If I'm not mistaken, I think they played some no huddle. Didn't Dart and the Giants run some no huddle last week? I feel like that happened. I could be making that up, but I feel like I read that somewhere. But this game should be played fast. I mean, the Saints have been playing fast as well. Scatterboo, how do you feel about Scatterboo's first game, Rich? I feel like he must have had at least 4 or 5 goal line chances, just never got there. But the opportunity was there at least.
Yeah, and like I said, they didn't drop back, so the rushing was there. He had 27 touches. You know, fought hard for his 90 yards and his 2 touchdowns. My son Cam, but we were worried about when Dart was getting inserted in the lineup. The one thing we were worried about was Dart going to impact his receiving role, and that did happen. Dart had the lowest target rate to running backs in week 4. He's a guy that's going to take off a little bit. So we did see that happen. He scrambled at the 6th highest rate in the league in his first start. So it looks like we're going to see those checkdowns that were there a week before against the Chiefs turn into Dart scrambles. So that's kind of the one thing. So we lose those checkdowns. He's going to have those designed like first read targets, but you love the usage, 75% of the snaps, 80% of the backfield touches. I imagine this will be another spot where they're in neutral game script and they are utilizing him heavily in the run game. I mean, the Saints are 20th in success rate against running back runs, 21st in rushing points allowed to backfields. And if we do get any throws, they are also 21st in receiving points allowed to backfields too as well. So please throw the ball to him, Jackson.
And the Saints are playing so far above their heads for Kellen Moore. Like they competed with the Bills on the road last week the entire way.
It's funny because they're terrible still. Like all their metrics are terrible. Like they've run the second most plays in the NFL, and they have 4 plays of 20 or more yards, the fewest in the league. Like
wow.
They haven't actually led since the first, was it 5 minutes of week 1?
They haven't run a snap with the lead, an offensive snap with the lead. They're the only team in the NFL.
It's week 5. That does seem bad, but it does. I was telling this to TJ. I was like, yeah, Rattler's not as terrible as I thought he would be. He seems functionable. At least they're trying. You know, there's some efforts there, I suppose. But all right, let's scoot along to game 3 on our 3-game. Oh, what do you got?
Daigle's got more. I got
a couple more bad plays from this game because
Please.
like the Giants are one of those teams where we should be able to play running backs against them, but now because they have a league worst EPA per carry, allowing 6.1 yards per run as well. But because of what's happened with Kendre Miller taking over for Devin Neal, similar to what happened with the Broncos, they iced Tyler Bidet. It becomes a 2-headed backfield. These last 2 weeks now, Kendre Miller is soaking into Alvin Kamara's early down workload with 7 and 11 carries. And so now you can't really play Kamara confidently because Miller could be there for a red zone touchdown. Having said that, like at least in terms of coverage, and I don't know what I'm doing with the rest of my salary when I win the Millie Maker with this stack, but in terms of coverage, Rashid Shaheed has seen 36% of his targets against man coverage for the 10th most yards per route run. As we know, that's the kind of player he is. Whereas against zone, he's sunk all the way to 57th in yards per route run. And the Giants have played 56% of their snaps from man coverage. So the 3rd highest rate in the league. So what do I do with the salary? Whenever Jackson Dart throws a Darius Slayton and Rashid Shaheed comes back for an 80-yard touchdown, I don't know, but I'm just throwing it out there for everyone.
Amon-Ra, Jonathan Taylor, you can surround these guys with some pretty expensive pieces for sure. The best you can do on this slate, it's a 10-gamer. A lot of the key pieces are not on our slate. Do want to mention we have a new exclusive deal for our listeners. You can unlock all of Rich Hribar's exclusive fantasy football analysis over at Sharp Football. 50% off with code PICK6. Go to sharp.football. Use the code PICK6 Now that's PICK and the number 6. You don't spell out 6. Pick 6 for a weekly, monthly, or season-long fantasy football package to save big. All right. Game number 3. We actually have a good functioning team we're going to be talking about here in game 3. At least one. Detroit at Cincinnati, 10.5 total, 49.5 is the 10.5 is the spread. Cincinnati is 10.5 point home dogs. If you're wondering how bad things are in Cincinnati, is Detroit a monster favorite here, Daigle? It's just a matter of, do we think Cincinnati can compete? Is there anybody that used to coach Detroit that Detroit is angry at, that they're going to put 50 up on Cincinnati no matter what the score is? Are they going to sweep the leg? Are they going to go for the throat? How do we handle Detroit and the Bengals?
Yeah, so we're finally at least removed from Jake Browning and the Bengals offense having to play the Vikings and the Broncos, 2 spots that we knew we were worried about. I'm not saying it's the best spot, but at least we know what the Lions are doing as a softer defense. They're blitzing at the league's highest rate, and it's a small sample, but at least the last 2 games, Jake Browning against the blitz, 9 of 12 for 8.5 yards per attempt. Also, the targets, as we fully expect, are going to 2 places, with Jamar Chase still soaking up 30% of Cincinnati's targets from Jake Browning. T. Higgins at 19%. The next closest would be Noah Fant. Every other player's at single digits right now. So if you want to play Jake Browning against the Lions, you at least know where the ball's going to go. You can get the elite Bengals stack for however elite Jake Browning is. And I think that's really the intriguing part here, since probably a lot of people are going to look at running it back with many Detroit players. And I'm fine with that. A Detroit nuke is good. Rich already teased Amon-Ra St. Brown, who's an amazing play in this game. But sure, we wanted to play Jake Browning a couple weeks ago. It didn't get there. Here's your chance where no one's going to play Jamar Chase and T. Higgins.
Rich, you want to sell me anybody in the Bengals? You kind of mentioned like Chase is not going to get played. That's the best argument, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely not going to play. Well, Detroit, it's going to be interesting too, because like the teams that have played the Bengals and even Browning, like they're not playing man coverage against them. Like the Broncos entered Monday running a high rate of man coverage, and they still just threw coverage at Chase, and just they really reduced their rate of man coverage because no one's really scared of Jake Browning. But the Lions are down really bad in their secondary this game. Terrion Arnold and DJ Reed both left the game last week, and they're not playing this week. Like they've already been kind of ruled out. So Amik Robertson's getting elevated. Avonte Maddox is getting elevated. They signed Trey Flowers in free agency this week. And like, that would be your path, right? Is like you just try to catch Detroit doing some cookie jar stuff, and Chase is able to get over on these guys, because Chase faced Surtain and the Broncos secondary last week, and then 2 weeks ago, faced the Vikings, and just like that buzzsaw. So that would be the path. But like I said, him playing on Monday and their prices being frozen doesn't really make you feel good. It's not a comfortable click at 9K and 7-8 by any means. He would be the only guy, because Browning is still trying to get the football to Chase like heavily. It's just so bad, man. He's now played 8 games with Browning, and he has 1 top 30 scoring week with him.
That seems bad. That does not seem optimal. And they're just not. Is that it? They're not going to find anybody? Is it? They're just going to keep throwing Browning out there, and just the season's over and they don't care? I know the Bengals are notoriously cheap. Is that not that Russ is going to do anything if they get Russ or Jameis? At least will make it fun. Are they content to just keep rolling out Browning? I suppose
they should just lose. I mean.
Yeah.
You can't give up any capital for Jameis Winston.
No. Well, no. You're not going to give any like a 6-rounder or something. Who cares? But my thought here is the one thing you can use Chase for it's a 425 game. If you have Amon-Ra and you're ahead, he's an interesting pivot, right? Like that's a good catch me up, and he's cheaper than Amon-Ra on both sites, barely. But yeah, that's the clear and obvious. I'm behind. I'm playing catch up. Yeah, and I think YOLO Chase, which is there are worse plays to get to when you're pivoting to try to play some catch up than Chase. So that's my thought on that.
I do. All right. I like that. I like that shout. Just because of the price, it's gonna have to be that.
How about Detroit, Rich? How are they going to score 30 points?
I mean, they're probably going to score 40 points. Hopefully they don't score them on defense, and we can get the offense. So, they don't steal any. Like the Vikings 2 weeks ago. We need those. So all the token guys you could play, right? Like if you fire away, right? Like Jahmyr Gibbs has taken over the backfield the past 2 weeks too. This might be a spot where you just see a lot more Montgomery, because we had in our one main event team, we had a conversation about playing RJ Harvey last week. And like I was pushing for it because I was like, this is the game. Like this is the one game. Like if you're going to try to be ahead of it, so Monte, who's conceded a lot of touches to Gibbs the past 2 weeks. 2 weeks ago in the game where Monte actually went nuts and had those 2 awesome runs against the Ravens, Gibbs had the most touches in a game he's ever played with David Montgomery in that game. And then last week we saw David Montgomery only get 9 touches. Gibbs played 71% of the snaps through 3 quarters against the Cleveland Browns defense. So he's kind of taken over that backfield in a way I think a lot of gamers thought he might early in the season, but it could be one of these spots where just everyone's getting a piece this game. I like the 2 guys, though, that haven't really gotten there. Obviously, Jameson Williams. And then I think really on this slate, Sam Laporta is very interesting. In week 2, he was banged up. And then he kind of drew a really bad matchup last week against the Cleveland Browns. But teams have targeted their tight ends against the Bengals at the 7th highest rate in the league. They're 29th in receptions allowed to tight ends, 24th in yards per tight end to tight ends. So I think Laporta is going to be the one guy where we talk about some of the tight ends and how people might be playing the slate. He's the one guy I think that might go overlooked here because the rest of the Lions are all going to have some ownership.
Daigle Lions?
Yeah, I still think it's the kind of situation where, like David Montgomery, I had to deal with a lot of start-sit questions, as Rich probably did. Goes from 100 yards and 2 touchdowns to a matchup to where his skill set just can't win against Cleveland.
Mm-hmm.
Like very obviously, even in FFPC, I benched him for fringe wide receivers because he just can't get there. But this is not that matchup at all. And so I don't know if you'll need to get to a mid-range running back since, again, we lop another 1,000 off. Michael Carter in a favorable game script is also there. But David Montgomery, I still do think is a very good play along with the Lions wide receivers. If you wanted to play Jake Browning too, you could play 2 or 3 lines coming back without Jared Goff, just because we think the points are going to be there.
All right. Anything else as far as Detroit and the Bengals? Anything else?
They tried to get Jameson going last week, but he was not having it.
A lot of air yards, right? Like
he dropped 2. He dropped 2. One, he got kind of spun around. He turned the wrong way on, and like that's just a tough play for a receiver when you kind of, you change when you turn like that. But he dropped 2. A bunch were inaccurate. He actually leads the NFL on an accurate target rate too.
Goff doesn't like him. Apparently, I don't. Well, I guess if you're throwing it 40 yards down, the
right,
more
exactly.
likely to be inaccurate. Yeah,
because he hasn't had he's been living on like a low diet of targets where they're all come with low success rates. Last week was the first week where he had like a viable target share.
I could see.
Go ahead, Joe. They go.
Well, I'll say I keep mentioning Jake Browning too, just from the cheaper aspect of it, but like Jared Goff stacks very clearly live as well. The Bengals, one of those teams, just like how we talked about with Bo Nix. Like Bo Nix had been terrible because of the schedule against the Bengals. Obviously, he was a great play on Monday Night Football. That happened because the Bengals just can't get pressure. And when you can't get pressure on Jared Goff, we've talked about this throughout his career. Like that's when he's the most successful. 70 of 83 from a clean pocket this year, tied with Lamar Jackson for a league high 9 touchdowns when kept clean. So Goff, Amon-Ra, Sam Laporta, a Lions running back, Jamar Chase, have at it.
Onslaught, or you feel like you try to force a run back, or not necessarily?
You know me. I'm always whenever a team has 40 points in their range of outcomes, like the Niners and Lions, I'm always a four from that player kind of guy. I like my onslaughts.
No, I'm saying you feel like you got to run back a Bengal.
Not necessarily, but as we've talked about, I think the slate has the salary to where you can.
Yeah. You could overspend on Chase. I guess both Chases. I don't know. Chase Brown.
No, we're not doing.
No, don't.
Chase Brown, it's over. Chase Brown's over. It's
Chase.
over, right? It was fun. It was a fun 12 games or whatever it was. But I guess it's over. Yeah, that's unfortunate. That's a bummer. Rich, if you were picking the 3 main games, which game would you have swapped in for Giants Saints? I thought, I tried to play the home version as well. I thought there's a decent chance we're getting Washington and the Chargers. Sometimes because of the total. We're expecting Daniels back. At least he practiced today. He's got a brace.
Yeah.
Looks like a fun game, if nothing else. I know we talked Chargers last week, so maybe that's one reason why.
Yeah, and I don't blame it, Daigle, for not picking Eagles Broncos, which is like a popular real football game because we're just exhausted. I even in my write up this week to Ray, the tag of sending to him, I was like, I'm just so done talking about the Eagles. I just need a break from the Eagles. I need a break from Dolphins. Panthers would have been my choice for the bad.
Hell yeah. Well, we'll get to that.
That's my bad. That's my bad game.
We'll get to that in positional plays too. But also, like, I'm a little bit concerned because the Chargers and Raiders offensive line injuries could really just tank those environments. And right now, I know those are the two games a lot of people are latching onto. And I do like plays in those games. But if everyone, again, a wide open slate behind Justin Fields. So if everyone's going to the same couple of games, I do think there are some interesting ways to differ in this, which is why I instead wanted to talk about the other two games that I think could outscore the Chargers and Colts offenses.
Yeah, Colts guys are going to be real popular. Daniel Jones, Tyler Warren, and Jonathan Taylor are going to be really popular on the slate.
That's what TJ said in chat. He said he would have picked Colts and the Raiders, which
I also am done talking about the Raiders though. Like I just need I need a break. I need a mental break from the Raiders.
That's
except for you should absolutely use last week's game to trade Ashton JT.
Interesting. Yeah, he had a breakout game. You're saying that offensive line still stinks, and he's gonna.
And they lost Colton Miller. Colton Miller is out for the ankle injury.
That's what I'm talking about. And like the Colts, the Colts, you can run on them, which is why it actually is a good like rewind spot for Ashton Jeanty. But at the same time, without Colton Miller, like what the Colts do on defense is have dogs who get after you. So it just seems like a great spot for their pass rush to finally get right.
And he's still in that game. Obviously, the long touchdown. He still was at 0.7 yards before contact on his runs last week. Obviously, he had the 2 receiving touchdowns, which like you're not going to suck those out every week. And then he created the long one. It was the perfect storm. As someone who faded really popular Ashton JT, it was great. It was a great outcome.
Listen, whenever Zamir White's healthy scratch, like you got to get. That's when you get Ashton JT involved. Otherwise, Zamir White's got to play pass catch.
And like Daigle said, the Colts aren't great against the run, but they face the second fewest running back runs in the NFL. So if they're just up, like they choke teams out.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's run it back and talk about our favorite position players we've not yet discussed. Before we do that, we want to mention here at RotoGrinders, we have a 3-day pass promo. If you want to try out our NFL DFS tools without a full season commitment, for a limited time, you get half off a 3-day NFL pass, get access to everything you need to crush the slate. You'll get our optimizer tool, Lineup HQ, packed with player projections, ownership projections, much, much more. You also get access to SimLabs, the easiest way to build smart, competitive lineups in just a few clicks. All that and more, just $9.99. Do not miss your chance to get a serious edge this week. The link is in the description on the YouTube. Also want to mention, well, if you want to commit to a little bit more than a 3-day pass, you want to get NFL DFS access for more than 3 days, why not get more bang for your buck with this Combo Pro deal? Limited time, you get a month, your first month free, not free, my apologies, your first month of Combo Pro for just $79.99, only $5 more than NFL DFS monthly sub. Do not pass up that elite value. Now, what that is all the sports, college football, NFL, baseball, basketball, hockey's a week away, NBA 3 weeks away, everything you can think of, football, baseball, basketball, hockey, golf, MMA, PGA, everything with the exception of NASCAR. First month is just $5 more than NFL a la carte. All right, let's run it back and talk about our favorite quarterbacks we've not yet discussed. Daigle, what do you got for me?
Can we start with Rich, actually? Because now I'm just very intrigued about Dolphins-Panthers.
All right, Rich.
Well, we're going to talk a lot of Dolphins Panthers, I think, through this period. Justin Fields, I think, is going to be probably, the core quarterback play. I think Daniel Jones is a good play. So we're going to get weird. And I do have Bryce Young on here.
Oh,
who amongst themselves?
Oh boy.
Who is this a good matchup for Bryce Young, or is it a good matchup for the Dolphins defense? Who will win? Who will win? This is the questions that I find myself asking. But they have allowed a top 5 scoring week to every single quarterback that they faced. Daniel Jones, Drake May, Josh Allen, Justin Fields. They also are allowing 41 rushing yards per game to opposing passers, 4 rushing touchdowns. That's kind of like, we haven't seen Bryce run like he did at the end of last year. So maybe we kind of get that dusted off. Chuba Hubbard's banged up, might force some things through the air. Miami league high completion rate, 31st in yards per pass allowed, 28th in touchdown rate. Again, it's not for the faint of heart, but he was the other gross one that I had down here.
Do we like that Legette is back? Does that matter to you at all? He's 3.5 on DK.
probably don't like it that he's back.
Okay, it looks like he's going to be back this week, and you don't care. Okay, fair enough. Daigle, can you see Bryce Young and raise? Can you raise Hribar, Bryce Young?
It's not. I mean, I don't think there's any raising Bryce Young. I think he went all in there.
He needs raised. He needs raised in real life.
But my ugly one is CJ Stroud, because at least we have their most explosive playmakers now playing as DeMeco Ryans. It even, per reports, gave away defensive play calling duties to have more hands on the offense. We got a season high 78.5% completion rate from CJ Stroud. And now we just talk about, well, one, the Ravens offensive environment previously with Lamar Jackson forced volume. So we may need not even get CJ Stroud having volume in here. Like Mahomes, Joe Flacco, Josh Allen, all reached at least 37 pass attempts. But regardless, you just go down like what's happening with the Ravens defense and just the injuries that are continuing to amount on defense between Chidobe Awuzie, Marlon Humphrey. I think the elite stack for the Texans between CJ Stroud, obviously Nico Collins, and now we're talking about Woody Marks, who only 58% of the team's backfield touches as a pass-catching running back. So that's his floor. Like, he can go significantly higher than that. The Ravens also allowing the most catches per game to opposing running backs. That's your stack right there. And from a pocket passer, if you want to go Zay Flowers, that's fine. But CJ Stroud, Nico Collins, Woody Marks, that's the way to play it. And I think the Texans have 40 points in their range of outcomes.
Yeah, how much push does Cooper Rush have? Like as far as pushback,
probably not much.
It's a tough defense for Houston. That's why
they also lost Ronnie Stanley too. Like again, everyone's dead. Mm-hmm. Like the Ravens they're not quite 49ers levels, but man, it's rough.
This is why even picking the games was hard because right now so many injuries, and more importantly, the games we're talking about are all so volatile. Like, what's more volatile?
And when they set this schedule, like these games should, like coming into the season, you'd have been like Broncos, Eagles, hot. Lions, Bengals, hot. Yeah. Texans, Ravens, hot. Like, it's just the way the first month has unfolded. It's kind of just sapped some of those environments.
Like the Texans offense, Bryce Young, Jackson Dart stacks without Malik Neighbors, and the Bengals offense. What is more volatile than everything we've talked about on this show?
Oh man, do we have any more quarterbacks, or is that it? Is that all we're gonna throw out there? Anybody good? that's the list.
I don't know. No, I'm seeing Herbert tracking to be popular, but I have strong reservations about that situation. I mean, maybe they get Becton back, but now you're down both tackles. So the past 2 weeks, Herbert has been pressured on just under 50% of his dropbacks. And under pressure, he's completed 37% of his passes, 4 yards per pass attempt, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. He's barely been good. He actually hasn't been good. He's got 14.6 points and 12.5 points. Abdul Carter was wrecking them on Sunday. Like, it was the Abdul Carter coming out party on Sunday, man. Like, Herbert was fighting for his life. And Washington is already good, and they're already 9th in the league in pressure rate. So, like, if Herbert's just running for his life again, like, this offense feels very fragile right now, especially because they want to drop back inherently. Because they can't really run block. Hampton got there on the long touchdown run.
Yeah.
But they were not running well up until that point. It's a real bad situation with this offensive line. I still think you can play like QJ, but... And then you have Daniels coming back off of this knee injury with no Terry McLaurin. And, like, they have no offensive playmaker that can create an explosive play right now. Like, Debo is their only playmaker on offense right now.
That's why I couldn't get there with that game entirely, just because, like, Washington is leading the league in pressure rate. And now we have this offensive line that is not holding up whatsoever. I know this because I've played Justin Herbert stacks in 2 of the last 3 weeks, and they have not gotten there. So, yeah, it's just not pretty.
Jeremy McNichols pretty explosive. I don't know. He's probably not going to be able to field
he had 3 touches last week.
Yeah, he's not going to play. But like
4 and 3 touches. Yeah.
Their backfield is nightmare fuel. Their wide receiver rotation after Deebo Samuel's nightmare fuel. Like, you could maybe try to talk yourself into Zach Ertz, but like, who's excited to ever click Zach Ertz, man?
Jalen Lane. These names are not terribly exciting. And is it fair to assume, we don't know, Daniels, he's going to be a little bit like, as far as running, like, he can get there if he runs for 60 yards and a touchdown or something like that. But Do we think he's going to be a little apprehensive? They probably wouldn't roll him out there if he wasn't 100%. We saw this last year. I think it was a rib, though. Wasn't it like his rib or something? He didn't want to get touched. Wasn't there some injury he was nursing for a couple weeks?
Yeah, for a couple of weeks, he kind of scaled back on his rushing. I don't know. Like, I would assume if he's playing that he's full go because they were so precautionary. And Dan Quinn was like adamant when he was first started. He was like, no, he has to be ready to practice like in full to play. So I would assume like he's good, but I'm always apprehensive of quarterbacks when they miss multiple weeks anyways, like they usually have a dip in production when they miss multiple weeks. Again, the Terry McLaurin injury is big for that offense because they just don't have a downfield. They don't have anyone that goes downfield. They don't have guys that can win downfield.
Like I like Deebo Samuel, but
I do like Deebo as an isolated player.
That's only because like the targets only go to him, but he's still getting everything underneath.
And he's running a little bit more since the Eckler injury.
Lead off a running back, basically. Yeah. All right. Let's go along and talk about some. Speaking of running backs, Daigle, you want to open those up for us?
I am honestly just waiting for the cheapies to open up. Like I'm kind of waiting on the Michael Carters and the Rashad Whites of the world because my running back pool I think is going to be the smallest it's been all year. Like I talked about David Montgomery, we discussed Jahmyr Gibbs and Breece Hall, and Woody Marks, and that's kind of like I think I genuinely only have like 6 guys on top of Jonathan Taylor. So honestly, we've discussed who I'm playing so far.
So if we're assuming Bucky is out, he's got that foot. What do you think the split's going to be between White and Tucker?
So we saw it last year, at least the one game that Bucky missed. Rashad White did out-touch Tucker 19-3. The overall RB1 game that Tucker had, I think it was week 4. That was actually alongside Bucky Irving in a 50-point blowout. Tucker is super explosive, but they are a team that has leaned even as early as a couple weeks ago. Whenever Rashad White got that hot hand against the Jets, I think it was the Texans, and they leaned on him more in the fourth quarter. They are a team that will lean hot hand. So I don't necessarily feel like I need to play Rashad White on this slate because we have a lot of salary, but I'm still waiting to see how everything shakes out.
Rich, the most interesting cheapie for you, Benson, we're assuming, he's going to be out. It's going to be Carter, DeMarcado, some combination. Maybe we lose Hubbard, Rico Dowdle possibly, Tucker, White. Who's the most interesting potential cheapie on a Wednesday night for you?
Are you counting Woody Marks or no?
Yeah, I guess so. I guess Marks is the answer.
I would have Marks because D'Amico Ryan's quotes after the game, like he's got a Woody. Like, like his quote was, "We're excited to see how much he can handle. They want to put more." He raved about his pass protection. He raved about him breaking. He was like, dude, this dude was smitten. Baltimore's allowed the highest points per touch to running backs. Even Isaiah Pacheco scored against the Ravens. Like, this is how that down bad.
Ever.
Like, yeah. Touches have gone nothing but up. So
Nick Chubb leads the league in having his run stuffed at the line of scrimmage. Like
Woody, they have a Woody and a Chubb. What a backfield.
I was trying to think of it, but I let it go. It was right there. I was like, I got nothing. I didn't have the perfect jokes. I just let it go. We probably wouldn't be the first to get there. But.
Yeah, we're lowbrow here. We'll take the layups. That's fine.
Take it on for sure.
Yeah, we can talk through just a couple of spots because I think it's just going to depend on what manifests throughout the week and what we need, what roster. Because I haven't tried to build any lineups yet to see like if maybe there's a piece like getting to one of these guys on locks that say like, oh, I really want to get like a lineup with Jonathan Taylor and Achane in it together. Like, can I do that? So if it unlocks something like that, we'll at least walk through the scenarios. The thing with the Cardinals backfield that's tough is so historically, well, not historically, just like under Drew Petzing, they've really loved just compartmentalizing guys. They like to have an early down guy and they love to have the guy that plays long down and distance and 2-minute drill. They don't have to change DeMarcado's position to just have him stay in that role. And then Michael Carter can just be like the early down guy and be kind of like the James Conner. The problem is Arizona can't run the football. Like maybe this is the elixir. The Titans defense is the elixir that everyone needs. Because they're allowing 5 yards per carry to running backs. But like Arizona Cardinals running backs as a group are 28th in the league in success rate. They're 30th in the league in rate of runs to go for a first down or touchdown. Like Connor was bad before he got hurt. And then Benson was bad on Thursday night. Like it's really just been a struggle for them running the football. So I would rather bet on one of these guys that I'd say like, hey, at least this player's shown me he's good. And you're not just playing the matchup of the defense, right? Because you can totally just say Titans defense maybe is that elixir. But like, there's really no evidence like this is a good player. Like you're just playing matchup forward. And I don't know if you need to do that necessarily on this slate. Whereas like Woody Marks, we already have proof of concept. He had a 2-touchdown game. His touches have gone up every game. Ravens are bad. Like if you have all those things lining up for you. Rachaad White is, while I don't think it's a game where you really want to target the Seattle defense in the run game, they're terrible in the stopping receiving backs. What's Rachaad White? What's the one thing he's good at? Like, because Seattle's 4th in yards per carry allowed to running backs, but they've allowed the most receiving points in the league to running backs. And we've seen the Bucs the past 2 weeks because of the state of their offensive line. They started calling more screens, and Baker's had his fastest time to throw these last 2 games. So at least on a site like DraftKings, I can see how you can get to Rachaad White through the receiving angle, through the matchup and what he's good at. So kind of just walking through a couple of those scenarios. That's kind of like where I'm at with like all of those guys.
I think, we have to wait this out, but I think Dowdle and White would be my favorite, just because the ambiguity with the Cardinals running backs, if we get those 2.
So if you're going to guess here, Daigle, Dowdle and Trevor Etienne, what would the split be between those 2? Best guess.
Well, Etienne has one thing going for him that he was, even in college, he was a pass catching back. That was his calling card. But Dowdle, we did see, was a top 20 running back for the second half of the season whenever they finally decided to bench Ezekiel Elliott because he wasn't showing up to practices because he didn't care at all. So Dowdle, I'll still happily lean on if Nick Chubb is out, because we think the Panthers could potentially hang around in that game. Like, even when you look at what the Panthers do on defense, like they can't rush the passer, they struggle to cover, but Tua is not that kind of guy who can necessarily beat like what the Panthers do. So I do think Carolina can quietly hang around there.
Yeah, this stuff can all change, but right now I'm seeing, ownership stuff. I ran a bunch of optimals. Hampton and Achane both at 77%. I made 100 lineups on DK, and then Taylor at 60%. So like right now it's spending up for those 3, but of course this stuff can change as the week progresses.
I would rather get Achane in, I think, than Hampton this week.
Yeah, Hampton made sense last week at salary, just given the lineup construction. But I don't think it's a week where you necessarily need him, and the matchup. Yeah. I don't think this is the week where you need him.
Yeah, and we're just concerned about that Charger line being able to block, which could be
well, because the Commanders' secondary is bad, but their front 7 is good. Like they're good at creating pressure, and they're good against the run. So I would expect it to be kind of like an inefficient game. Now Hampton has the workload, right? Like we seen it like that that first game, like that workload that he had was literally like RB1 stuff, and that's enough that can float you through a bad matchup. I mean, he played 89% of the snaps, which was the highest rate of any running back last week. He was the RB4 in drop back route participation. He was the RB2 in share backfield touches. Like that's pretty top down usage. Like we've seen guys like Kyron Williams and Chase Brown be inefficient, but just have that kind of equity in a good offense that can score points and get by for fantasy football. And I think that's the floor for Hampton. Like obviously if he stacks any efficiency, you could run into like some real crooked numbers.
Since Najee Harris went down, Hampton's out-touched everyone else in that backfield 37-0. Like it's that simple.
Why do we think HN only had 2 targets on Monday night? Is there a reason? Just something goofy the way they were defending him?
Probably just the way the game played out. Just nothing crazy.
I still think it was favorable though, because everyone who rostered Ollie Gordon, part of the thesis was that with a lead, like this is a guy who ices the game, but that wasn't the case at all. And I think that's super encouraging for Achane's usage, is that Ollie's share of carries actually went backwards, and instead they leaned on Achane in the 4th quarter. He didn't get the bonus, but he still got 20 carries in that one.
Yeah, last week when I wrote it up, I kind of looked at that split and just wanted to see how much of it was like influenced potentially by just the short with a Thursday night game. Like, just how much
game script to keep the ball out of Josh Allen's hands.
Yeah. So, I mean, and then we saw Achane get a touch inside the 10-yard line, which, he had 2 or 3 team touches inside the 10 on Monday, which kind of was like is he losing this goal line job or not?
Puka got one too. Shout out to Puka. He's not immune to scoring inside the 10.
Yeah,
right?
how about that? Yeah, thank you, Sean
You've been having
McVay. And he cashed it in, which is like, come on, McVay, give him some more. But
why wouldn't he? He's like,
yeah.
Is there anything more money in the bank than Puka right now? He's just absolutely insane.
But
All
the
right.
Hill injury is good for H as well, though, too.
I figure, yeah, that was why I was like, I know that happened in the middle of the game, but and maybe they didn't figure it out in the fly. And it should help out Waddle, which we'll talk about Waddle in a second. Maybe some leap Washington. What do you got, John?
It's not just also that he's getting like the target share too, since Christian McCaffrey is the only player with a higher target share at their position. Bijan Robinson's usage is also just incredible. But Achane also is averaging 5.5 yards per touch, 4.9 yards per carry. Like he's just so explosive, and that hasn't gone backwards at all.
Bijan, another player, if on this slate, would be immensely owned just because we have salary to pay for him.
It's kind of a shame because he's been overlooked on every slate, and rightfully so, because of like the matchups and the usage that Christian McCaffrey and Jonathan Taylor gets. But Bijan Robinson, man, they use him for everything.
And he's so fun to watch. He's so cool.
Yeah.
He's a fun player. You guys are not going to believe our most popular receiver, at least in the lineups that I made. Second most popular in FanDuel, most popular on DK. You guys are probably getting questions. Should I drop this player? Who am I talking about?
Oh, McConkey? Yeah.
Is he in the drop? I mean, are people probably panicking? I imagine.
Oh, you can't. You're dropping Lad.
I'm not saying that you should, but you're probably getting owners that he's like wide receiver 3 right now for the Chargers. 2.5.
Yeah. The usage is bad. I mean, the problem with Lad is even if you're expecting a bounce back, is this is now a 2-year sample where they don't use him in the red zone at all. He wasn't using the red zone as a rookie. He was out targeted in the red zone and the end zone by Quentin Johnson as a rookie. Now Keenan Allen has picked up some of that work too. Right now he has 1 red zone target, 0 end zone targets.
I don't like it.
Yeah. So like, even if you're expecting a bounce back, I think from efficiency, remember I tried to whisper him last week into the kind of the conversation.
Yeah.
And dude, I mean, he was so bad again. I mean, he caught 1 of 6 targets. He had a terrible drop.
Mm-hmm.
There's going to be a dead cat bounce, but QJ is still balling. Like the thing is QJ is going nuts, man.
The part that concerns me more than all that is that now we have Hampton and Aronde Gadsden getting a target share, and that wasn't the case at all before the last 2 weeks. Like Hampton even bumping up now is very bad for the pendulum of wide receivers there.
The other guys that are pretty popular I'm seeing here, I mentioned Waddle. Waddle should get the boost there without Tyreek. Yeah. Obviously, good matchup. And then Tet. This seems like a great spot for Tet. How do you feel about that? Those receivers matching up there, Hribar?
Yeah, Tet is on my list as a if not win. That's like kind of like how I wrote him up, like if not win. And the problems for Tet are kind of what happened to It's kind of what happened to Marvin Harrison Jr. last year. So he's playing 86% of his snaps out wide. 25% of his routes have been go routes. Bryce Young is 28th in pass rate outside the numbers. He's 31st in deep pass rate. When he has thrown downfield, he's 1 of 8 passing. On throws 10 or more yards downfield, Bryce Young has completed 31.7% of his throws, 13 of 41. Only Cam Ward is worse. So it's kind of what happened with like Marv being stuck outside with a quarterback that doesn't throw up in the middle over the middle of the field, isn't good at throwing downfield, right? But still, when you look at kind of like this in particular matchup, and I already brought up Bryce Young, Miami is 25th in yards per target allowed to wide receiver ones. They have the highest touchdown rate to wide receiver ones. So like I just kind of wrote up as like if not win, but I do think his actual top down usage in the offense, his deployment paired with his quarterback strengths are just a mismatch.
Yeah, John, I should have like asked you guys first your favorite receivers, but I saw those guys popping. I'm curious. I imagine you had thoughts on them. Either one of those on your list, Daigle, if not Waddle or McConkey. Who else is popping for you?
Just because I was so worried about the Chargers matchup. Honestly, I kind of removed the Chargers from my pool of players since we have a lot of what I think more explosive matchups to discuss. Tet and Waddle obviously made it, even if you want to skinny stack them without the quarterbacks. I also think Jackson Smith and Jigba is probably going to be like one of the best cash games play, so it's going to trickle down to his ownership, but he's basically become mini Puka Nacua. like the poorer version of Nakua's usage.
The very poor version.
and the Bucks now, when we talk about cluster injuries already happening in week 5, like you just go down the list of their secondary. We're going to see what shakes out in the injury report. But Jamel Dean, Benjamin Morrison, Christian Zian, Rashad Wisdom, all injured in their secondary. Last year, without Jamel Dean, the Bucks secondary dropped to dead last with 8.3 yards per attempt allowed to opposing quarterbacks. So I think JSN super interesting. Deebo Samuel, we touched on, had a season high 34.4% target share in week 1 from Jaden Daniels, 20% in week 2. And then last week, just because we don't have Terry McLaurin and Noah Brown, popped up with a 25% target share even from Terry McLaurin. Just given also how Jesse Minter plays defense with zone coverage, it's kind of how you pepper Deebo Samuel in front of the line of scrimmage. So I do like Deebo a lot too. And then the cheapie, another cheapie, since, we can't play 100% Darius Slayton. We got to mix in someone else. We're going to play 90% though, is Elik Iomanor for a miserable Titans offense. That's not fun at all. It's probably going to get popular, honestly, if Calvin Ridley's ruled out. Kind of hoping Calvin Ridley plays, because at least we saw last week, even with Calvin Ridley rotating in and out, the Titans changed play callers. And with the change call, with the Ridley injury, Iomanor then goes on to have a season-high 30% target share, lead all their wide receivers in routes run, and the Cardinals are allowing the second most yards per game to wide receiver ones and over 6 catches per week as well.
You mentioned JSN. I'm curious, takeaways first week from Godwin. I know the stats weren't great as far as the routes.
Egbuka?
And Egbuka, can he get – is that who you're talking about? Oh, no, but both. Just kind of Tampa as a whole. As Godwin, his first game back, as far as his usage, it wasn't spectacular in the box score. And Egbuka just finds his way scoring 50-yard touchdowns. Is that something we can just assume is going to happen going forward? Probably.
Baker too, like Baker just Wolverines his way to a QB1 scoring week every week. Like everything is falling apart on him. Like the whole house is on fire, and he's just like, he still finds a way, man. I mean, he was so bad in that game on Sunday, and still just like found a way to make 2 huge, just gigantic plays and kind of get there.
He had 22 completions, and yet still 290 yards and 2 touchdowns. Just absurd.
I mean, he completed 55% of his passes as a season low, but had the 2. You throw 2 almost 80-yard touchdowns, you're in business.
I think we said this last week. Like every single week, it comes down to Baker Mayfield down by a touchdown, and like, all right, here we go.
Yeah, man.
So they get to it various ways, but
he's super fun. He's super fun to watch. Like Baker's just one of those guys because he's such an animal.
His effort is, you cannot fault his effort, and he's busting his ass out there. And like it does seem like his line just kind of falls apart around him, and he just extends plays. And we'll probably see the same thing again this week, where they're probably down by 7 or 6 in Seattle.
I mean, Godwin had no restrictions. I mean, he didn't play good. So the problem with Godwin, though, because a lot of people are probably, I think, talk about his usage. Yeah. The problem is that because Mike Evans is out and the other receivers are Sterling Shepard and Tez Johnson, Godwin was forced to play outside, and he's been awful, like playing outside receiver like the last 3 years of his career. Like he's been so much more efficient in the slot. And when you especially against a team like the Eagles, right? Like when he has to go stack up outside against those teams. And that's the problem with him in Seattle, right? Like Seattle has been dominant against outside receivers so far to open up the season. They've had 0 touchdowns to outside receivers. Somehow Egbuka will be the first. I guarantee that probably somehow because he just keeps getting there. But yeah, that's the problem because Godwin had played 93% of the dropbacks. Like there was no restrictions. He had the 10 targets. It's just that he can't win outside. Like he's got no juice, man.
Does Tampa know that? Tampa's got to know that, right?
They don't, but the other guys like Tez Johnson ain't going out there. Sterling Shepard ain't going out there.
Yeah. Okay, it's like a lame duck out there.
I think when Evans comes back, like this offense will start to really kind of because the offensive line is never going to get healthy because they did get Wirfs back too last week, and they're not going to get like Godeke or Mock back. But when they get Evans back, Evans, Egbuka, Godwin in the slot, like that's pretty solid.
We haven't mentioned anybody from Denver, Philly, which you guys are tired of writing about them, tired of talking about them, and every once in a while though, when Philly gets pushed, it could be an interesting game, but it sounds like we're mostly ignoring that game, John.
I mean, I'm gonna play some AJ Brown.
Yeah, squeaky wheel, or it's just like he's got.
I had AJ Brown.
It's AJ Brown.
Yeah, I had AJ Brown in my list of players that I just didn't talk about him because I was like, I'm sick of it.
Yeah, I have zero expectations. I'm just saying he's gonna be because the Surtain stuff. Like it's still AJ Brown 1-on-1. Like Pat Surtain is a demon, but like it's still you're gonna tell me like you want to play man coverage against the guy like the Incredible Hulk. Like this is where AJ Brown's made his money in his career. Like this is where he wins his man coverage in the bully game. So I can't wait to watch this matchup. These two guys have never played against each other. Okay. It's gonna be a fun one, man. Like that's because Denver was gonna shadow, like they'll shadow him, especially because they want to stop Saquon, right? Like it's not a situation like Monday night where you can just play bracket coverage on Jamar Chase because what the hell are the Bengals gonna do to you? Like teams are still loading the box on Saquon. You still have to account for Jalen Hurts in the run game. AJ Brown and Pat Surtain are gonna play some old school one-on-one football, man. It's gonna be like Moss versus Revis shit.
That's fun. I'm looking forward to it now. You talked me into it. And like AJ Brown and even Hurts, these guys have wide range of outcomes, big variance, like big variance, man. So you lean into that in tournaments. And
the fun thing about these old shadow corner matchups is people used to always get these wrong though, is like he can get dominated. AJ Brown, figure in an average game, because I guess we have to adjust for the Eagles. Like in an average game, wide receivers running 30 to 35 routes, the Eagles 20 to 25. He can get dominated for 20 of those 25 reps. But if he wins 5 of those 20, like that, man, like it still is, if for fantasy football, the way it's scored, like that still matters.
As somebody who enjoys that, Rich, who's like some of your favorite classic throwback wide receiver quarterback matchups?
Deion Jerry was always the hot one, man. You remember when they fought too? And like neither guy got ejected today. That was fun. Love that. Obviously, Moss Revis was always a real fun matchup too. That I remember.
The guy in Houston, Andre Johnson, and was it Finneran?
Cortland Finnegan.
Finnegan. Yeah.
Well, that wasn't so much of that was a little bit one-sided.
That was a one-time deal. Who was the one that like grabbed the guy's chain, like broke the guy's chain?
Oh, that was Crabtree. Talib.
That was Crabtree.
Akib Talib. It was Talib. Talib took Crabtree's chain.
I think the most recent classic one is Evans and Lattimore.
Yeah. Yep.
That's a good one. Yeah. All right. I feel like those kind of went away in some ways. Like,
because the NFL meta has shifted. Like, you're not even the teams like when we bring up like when Daigle, like we're talking like man coverage, like the teams that are running man coverage at the highest rate in the NFL are like 40%. Like it's like 40% of snaps. And then we were talking about like that from like a route perspective, like a 35 route sample. That's like 15 to 18 routes. And then still that one guy has to line up over that one receiver, and receivers are moving around more than ever too. Like it's just not the way the game is played anymore. That's why cornerback receiver stuff has kind of fallen by the wayside for fantasy analysis.
The BBP is no longer a thing. All right, Daigle, tight ends, what do you got?
Just one. Just Tyler Warren if you're spending up. Because again, I really do think Mason Taylor or Theo Johnson, since we're all playing giant stacks, are two ways you could go for extremely cheap. But the Tyler Warren flop lag, even though it's not even flop lag since he scored a rushing touchdown, but Tyler Warren's just in an amazing spot. The only tight end averaging over 3 yards per out run against zone coverage, which, as we talked about in the past, that's what the Raiders run because they don't have the talent in their secondary. They just have to try to keep everything in front of them. But Tyler Warren, man, it's an amazing matchup for him.
Are we done playing Bowers for the foreseeable future? Do we have to see him like a little bit more mobile?
No, I think last week he was fine. Like health-wise, I thought he was fine. Because he practiced in full. The thing was always supposed to be like around 3 weeks. Last week he wasn't on the practice squad. He practiced in full the whole week. He was on the field for 91% of the dropbacks. The problem was the Raiders didn't run any plays. He actually was targeted too on 30% of his routes. He had over 2 yards per route run. It's just he ran 20 pass routes because they didn't run any plays. Now the Colts face an average of 35 pass plays per game. So we should see him get back to now. Michael Mayer is going to come back like they'll do the 11 personnel thing. So like he won't be at 90%, but I do think that last week kind of was overblown because of what just happened to the offense in total. Cause like they actually ran the ball a little bit. They're probably gonna be playing from behind in this game. So I kind of like Bowers a little bit as a tournament play, but Warren is like the obvious, like just smash play.
Okay. So we're not talking about McBride.
This might be just a low volume game, right? With McBride. I'm not excited to play him, to be honest.
What do you have to do against Tennessee? Basically, but the running game is probably not going to be spectacular. We don't think. Against Tennessee, maybe, but if running backs don't matter, I guess it doesn't matter. But Carter and DeMarcado, we're not necessarily expecting them to jump in and be elite. But I guess Tennessee, are they going to score? Is kind of the question.
I have such a hard time talking about. Well, these are the two teams I have a hard time talking about, the Cardinals and Titans, just because it seems like we never know what we're going to get from the Cardinals offense. Even like for season-long purposes, they have the second easiest passing schedule the rest of the way. So Marvin Harrison Jr. should be an individual you should buy low. But even then, it's like, I don't know, man. Like there's nothing less fun to talk about than the Cardinals and Titans.
Yeah, it definitely has the feeling of the old Milton Berle game. What does Arizona actually have to do here to get the W against the Titans? Nobody else. That's it. As far as that's our list.
I had Tommy Tremble just because I wanted to weasel my way into that game.
You besmirched me when I mentioned Tommy Tremble. I don't know if it was a Daigle. Maybe both of you guys laughed at me.
No, I wrote up Tommy Tremble on the waiver wire. So no.
Okay. I thought I remember getting laughed at. Maybe I got to check.
He basically has the same route participation as Mason Taylor, who we talked about earlier. And his matchup is really good. Like, so the Carolina doesn't have an established wide receiver too. We talked about this with Xavier Legette not being very good at football. Coker seems like he's still a week or two away.
Yeah.
Dave Canales said it's still like week to week. He still brought him as week to week, even though he's eligible to come off of IR. But I mean, Mason Taylor, the team he got over last week was the Dolphins, and the Dolphins is getting crushed by tight ends. Like even tight ends that don't run a lot of routes, like Dalton Kincaid 2 weeks ago. So my Bryce Young stack with Tommy Tremble. God, yeah.
Speaking of, I just want to say, just to be clear, we're not chasing Darren Waller. We're not chasing the 2-touchdown Darren Waller game.
I think for season long, like if you're in a bind or you're in tight end premium, like he has to be on the radar because like this dude didn't play football for a year and came back and scored 2 touchdowns. He just only ran 10 pass routes. Like you need more pass routes. The fact that he already had like a little red zone package for him and delivered. Like, and with Tyreek's injury, like it all kind of set up for him. Like Tyreek getting injured too, like he at least got to be on the board here. I will say too, you're going to see way more Nick Westbrook-Akine than anyone thinks they're going to see, because it's the Josh Downs situation. Malik Washington's position's not going to change. When Tyreek Hill got injured in that game, Westbrook-Akine was on the field for 80% of the dropbacks, and Washington was 60%. Like Washington this season. On 1 to 2 wide receiver sets has been on the field for 4 total plays. Like he's just not that kind of player. And he's not good in the run game, which is what what Nick Westbrook-Akine, because he's active in the run game, he's going to play way more than anyone thinks he's going to play.
Did he get a big boost on Monday night, or they did not adjust it necessarily? Okay. You got the boost. You saw it. Okay.
Oh, yes. He was after when Hill left the game, Westbrook-Akine was on the field for 80% of the dropbacks. And it was 60% for Washington.
Okay.
Because in the 1 to 2 wide receiver stuff, Malik Washington's not getting on the field on those downs.
Interesting. Do we want NWI? I mean, he's 3-1, just like our boy from last week.
Remember last year when he just kept scoring touchdowns?
Oh, it was the worst. I never played him. I was so stubborn. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if you need it. This is kind of the counterpoint.
That's the thing I keep coming with all the cheap guys. It's just like we haven't found a slate yet where, and maybe if we would have had Puka and CMC, but the way it lined up with no Puka CMC, like, yeah.
I'll tell you one name that's really uncomfortable. And again, this stuff changes that I'm seeing hitting a lot of optimals. Troy Franklin on DK. How do we feel about Troy Franklin at 4K against Philly?
Fine.
Yeah,
Quinion Mitchell's gonna follow Cortland Sutton. That's what they've been doing. So open up, and Franklin's he's actually held on to all this usage these past 3 weeks. He's basically stayed in as the wide receiver 2. He actually now has the same amount of targets as Cortland Sutton on the year.
Okay, I guess. But that happens to be chalky, and it probably won't by the time we get to Sunday.
You never want to play like that kind of play when it's chalky.
That's what I'm seeing right now. Like that doesn't make any sense. I think that's going to change. Okay. Anything else, boys, as far as tight ends? Anything else as far as the slate? Or do you want to give me your favorite stack on a Wednesday night before we talk about our movies? Rich, you go first.
Well, like Daigle, I think that the Fields, Garrett Wilson stuff is just kind of North Star too good. Leverage on that would be Breece Hall, and then, gosh, man, I guess my favorite stack is this Panthers game.
You say I didn't. You want to say that louder?
Yeah.
Into the mic.
Yes, Panthers stuff.
Oh my gosh, Daigle, what do you got? Your favorites? Your favorite stack. Also, Daigle, tell the people where they can find you. They know it's at ETR, but just in case they don't know, where can they find you? Where can they ask you ridiculous start-sit questions for Week 5?
EstablishTheRun.com, where I will be rewriting the waiver wire for the third time after this show, just to make sure we're all aligned on all the running backs available this week that you probably can't start, but you want to. So I'll do the services. But beyond that, favorite stack, I do like Jackson Dart and Darius Slayton a lot. I also, talking through it, I kind of like a lot of the Lions too. It just seems like that's the better direction to go than the Jets offense.
All right, that's it for football. We're going to bring on producer TJ. We're going to bring on Rob as well. Do find Rich, of course, at Sharp Football Analysis. We gave the promo earlier. Pick 6. That is the number 6. Pick the number 6. Use that promo over there at Sharp Football Analysis. Find him at LordReebs as well on the Twitter. I do not see TJ, but I do see Rob. Rob, do you have a thought, by the way? Rob, of course, over there at Spike Week, doing a lot of season-long stuff, not season-long stuff, doing best ball stuff. How did your best ball finals go for you? Well, swimmingly or not so great?
We didn't come in last, so
okay.
So that's good.
If you're in a guillotine league, it's great. That's great news.
Yeah. I mean, it was fun. I was glad I made the finals in that. They did a second quarter tournament as well, which was the hardest best ball tournament I've ever drafted in my life, because you have to account for the bye weeks, and there's really good teams on bye in week 8, which is the championship week. Like Detroit's on bye that week amongst other teams. So how do you play Jahmyr Gibbs in that league, right? You don't get him in week 8. So it was a very tough tournament. Then all the injuries today had me thinking about Survivor and how I think the Rams are a great pick for Survivor this week, even though I usually don't like divisional games. But short week, Thursday night game, home game against San Francisco, who has 3 healthy players maybe.
Who are those 3 healthy players?
The punter, the kicker, and the long snapper, I think, at this point. So
they're going to need their punter and their long snapper. I feel like those players are going to be really busy Thursday night, fairly certain.
Yes.
Did you have a thought, by the way? Any thought as far as week 5? Have you dug in just yet? A minute or so? We just, we broke it down from all the angles, but I'm curious. I'm sure you've looked at it to some degree.
Daigle brought up the Lions, which I think people are going to be on the Lions, but when I hear people talk about the Lions, and I didn't hear your running back part, so excuse me, but Gibbs this week, I think, is going to be like a leverage play if it continues in this fashion where no one's like really on Jahmyr Gibbs. I will probably play a healthy amount of Jahmyr Gibbs and then just lose the Dean anyways.
We'll talk about that in a second. Yes, I have a very particular set of skills. My very particular set of skills is, if nothing else, I win our 5-man. I win our 5-man contest. We'll be talking about that in just a second. We have TJ. TJ, do you have anything? I know you're listening the whole time. You're chiming in. You're hanging out with the chat. Is there anything you wanted to add as far as your thoughts on week 5 before we completely pivot off of football and talk about some movies?
No, not really. Love a lot of the takes. I think I'm going to be doing a Detroit onslaught as well. I really like the idea of a large field stack of Stroud, Woody Marks, and Nico Collins. So I was on a lot of the same things as Daigle was. And then, we were close to taking down something really big on Sunday. I put up like 198 in the early only slate with 2.5 from Darnell Mooney, who got hurt in the second quarter. And so made a couple $100, but was like a 10 from Mooney from like 5K, a 15 from like 20K, or a 20-point game from like 50K. So we were close to a real big day, but ended up still having a good one because that early only slate.
The injuries are brutal, obviously. All right, let's go ahead. Let's do it. Let's seamlessly segue. Let's talk about our movie. Those that are still hanging out in chat, they probably know. They probably watched it with us. They thoroughly enjoyed it, I imagine. We now I want to be clear from the start. I made it a democracy. I allowed you guys to pick the movie. It was not my say. I said, here's 2 movies. You guys pick one. And I said, highest to lowest, the new Denzel Spike Lee movie. I haven't seen it just yet. I want to see it. And then I said, well, I saw a ridiculous picture on Netflix. I was kind of skimming through something called Ice Road Vengeance, starring Liam Neeson. And I think at least there was a majority of you guys said, yes, that's the movie we want to see. We want to see
I
Ice
would like
Road
it
Vengeance.
on the record and noted, put it in the notes, and I guess I'm the one who takes the notes, but we'll put it in that I voted against this movie.
That means
Okay.
that PJ's going to give it at least like 4.5 stars.
Follow me on Letterboxd. You'll already see my ranking for it.
All right. So, and unbeknownst to me, unbeknownst to us, somebody told me in the comment section last week. Apparently, Ice Road Vengeance is a sequel to a movie called Ice Road. No, wait, The Ice Road. That I guess enough people walked out of the Ice Road and said, you know what? I need to see another 120 minutes of this. I need more of Liam Neeson in the Ice Road. So hopefully you guys weren't too confused. You caught up pretty quickly, pieced together some things. I will go ahead and read the synopsis on IMDb.
Can't wait.
Mike travels. Mike, who is Liam Neeson, travels to Nepal to scatter his late brother's ashes on Mount Everest. When Mike and his mountain guide encounter mercenaries on a tour bus, they are forced to fight to save their lives, the passengers and the local villagers' homeland. This just came out. It is on Netflix. I don't normally get it started. I just like to kind of throw it around. But can I just say, I know there are plot devices, but like, look, that is a big ask. Like to say you die, you put that in your will and say, this might put you out a little bit. I don't know what your plans are, but you might go into Nepal and spreading my ashes. You're asking too much. At the beach, the local park, you have a favorite spot, favorite restaurant. What? But for the record, I'm not going to ask anybody to do that. Just to be clear, I would say no. I just wouldn't do it.
This was one of my notes. This is an absurd ask to just in your will be like, by the way, I need you to go to the summit of Mount Everest.
Yeah, not just Mount Everest, but the summit.
And spread my ashes. You might as well ask to just be spread at Atlantis at that point in time. Because who's doing this?
Then he was like, yeah, I guess I'll do that. Like, like not even a second thought. Immediately he's booking his flight.
Yeah,
well, obviously he's a hardcore rock climber, brother, which was established at the beginning of the movie.
Yep.
Yeah, well, he was wearing those Levi's or something. You had like the Jay Leno outfit on, right? Like the denim on denim, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
But all right, who wants to open this? I feel like Rob, because this is if this movie is for anybody. I don't know if it is, but if it's for anybody amongst us five, it's for Rob.
Well, I thought you were going to get us started here, Dean. If you want me to,
please.
I took notes, and if I take notes, that means I have thoughts on this movie. So the first thing I started doing while I was watching this movie, going through it, I started giving it alternate titles. The first title that I came up with for this movie was Cars Going 30 Miles Per Hour. My next movie title was Unspeed. And then I also came up with...
I was thinking, somewhere in that vein too.
80-year-old Liam Neeson Climbing Things was my third title for this movie. This movie clearly was written in 1991 for Steven Seagal. This is a Steven Seagal-ass movie if I've ever seen a Steven Seagal movie, with the exact, like, all of the plot devices that a Steven Seagal movie would have. It was missing the great one-liner, like, that a Steven Seagal movie.
The eyes have it.
Yeah.
No, I thought there was two that were real good.
Oh, yeah.
I think I'm thinking of the same ones as you, Rich, because there was twice that I was like, oh, that one's actually pretty good. And then one that was like, oh, they tried to make that one really good and it did not work.
No. When he used his brother's urn, the ashes, to beat the dude through the window, and he looked at the urn, he said, thanks, buddy. I was like, hell yes. That was God. Yes.
And the director
I was like
D'Amico
Ryans. Like, I was just like, yes.
The director showed us that urn like 4 different times. Like, this is going to be a thing. Just pay it. Just watch.
Yeah.
We're going to do something with this.
Yeah.
What was the other one, TJ?
There was something that it wasn't even Liam Neeson who said it, I don't think, but I wish I wrote it down because it was something like...
No, the eyes have it. I took a picture and sent it in the DM.
Something about you can only appreciate it when you... Oh, atheists die. It's easy to live as an atheist, but it's harder to die as one. And I was like, oh, that's cold. That's a cold line.
Oh, you're looking
Steven
for
Seagal is so mad
you're
when
looking
you
for
say
something
that.
that's actually a legit. Do you guys remember the greatest Steven Seagal line in movie history?
I thought it would be smaller.
No.
Is it in Cradle? Is it in Cradle to the Grave?
No. It was the one where he was in a coma, I believe, and he wakes up
I need more.
and he sees the senator that double crossed him on TV.
Oh, yes, take it to the bank.
Yeah, and the senator's tagline was, "And you could take that to the bank." And then Steven Seagal just looks at the TV menacingly, and he just goes, "I'll take you to the bank, Senator. The blood bank." Greatest line in cinema history. So we were just missing one of those lines in this particular movie. My other notes were just really quick. MS Paint RPG, which was a lot of fun. And I thought that the blonde actress gave an incredible performance to not show any emotion even for a second throughout the entire movie. Was
That her father just died?
Her dad died, and she
Didn't
was
care.
like, moving on. And then
Teach
Liam
me how to
Neeson got
fight.
injured, and she was like, he's not gonna die, is he? And it was more emotion than she showed at any point of her dad dying.
In fairness, the most emotion she showed was when her phone was thrown out the window. So
That's accurate for today.
that's fair.
I had
Sure.
the same thought as Rob, by the way. I just thought, I guess, everything IPs, are the rage. And I guess Ice Road is a big enough IP that this was not originally written as a sequel to Ice. I've never seen the Ice Road, but they just changed a couple of things. There's no ice. There is some road. There's no
It's called
vengeance.
Ice Road
Where's the
Vengeance,
vengeance?
but there's no icy road, and there's very little vengeance.
Where's the vengeance?
Yeah.
Like, I don't believe that this was like Rob said, this has been sitting around in somebody's desk. They dusted it off. And so I guess, all right, get Liam Neeson. Is he available? Get him on the horn. Daigle, jump in here. I want your thoughts. How do you feel about the Ice Road Vengeance?
So, unbeknownst to anyone on this show, I went back and watched the original Ice Road before I watched the second one.
I have questions for you, Daigle. I'm excited.
But I gotta be honest with you. I'm not sure vengeance was required. I don't know if we actually needed vengeance after the first one. The main takeaway is that Holt McCallany decides to have a Russian accent as the main villain, and it's not done well at all. In fact, he just ends up not speaking in a lot of scenes because it's just better if he doesn't speak at all, as opposed to trying to pull it off. So I don't know if you need to watch the first one, honestly. The second one, I guess the one knock is that it still kind of takes itself a little too seriously, not in the vein of Money Plane. Like, Money Plane thought it was a legitimate good action movie, and it was in fact legitimately bad on every level. But this does have some of its like gleaming moments, so sure, it was okay.
I love that Money Plane got a shout out. Jump in here, Rich.
Not for the right reasons.
Yeah, the first 35 minutes, I was like, oh man, this is not good. This is really not good. But the second that the four of them flip that bus back over, 200-pound women and like 135-pound dude flip over this bus mechanically, like they MacGyver this bus. They go down this cliff to get another axe off of this graveyard of things. Like, they accomplish all this in 2 hours. I was back at that point. I was like, this is now the level of where I expect. My expectations were here to start, and they got there. And then after that, you just had hit after hit. Like, you had the dad setting up the dummy where they go in to kill him, and like he's got like the booby trap set up. You had the whole end bus scene. Like, I was in at that point. Like, I love when he's going through the tunnel and the guy setting the dynamite. Liam Neeson looks over, he's like, dynamite. And like he's like, they're like, can you get past? He's like, what other choice is there? I was in at that point because, like Rob said, this reminded me literally of like 7th grade, like 6th, 7th grade, coming home after school and like turning on TNT and like some bullshit was on. And like, this was like that kind of movie. Like, is it good? No, but it was just like
this was that bullshit. This was the bullshit.
This was like the stuff though. Like, it was, I'm like partial to like this type of movie because it was just so prevalent, like in my childhood, like growing up.
we kind of expected, I think, I'm speaking to be sort of terrible, but we thought it'd be a fun terrible. I guess the question is, Rich, was it a fun enough terrible for you?
Not quite, but it was there. It was I would say the third act, the second act was like at least more what my expectations were.
Yeah, it didn't go full Seagal like Rob mentioned. Yeah. I was curious.
Well, Neeson can't move is the problem. Like this, there was one point when they had to bring in the stunt guy when he jumps off that crane, like onto the top of the building. And I was like, oh yeah, he's like a lemur at that point. And I was just like, yeah. And I was like, because the beginning when he's like throwing punches, I'm like, ooh, Neeson is struggling to move, man. It's like he's like 2025 Travis Kelce out here in this movie.
Well, you're spoiling the bit. I think that's going to be our tight end. I imagine.
No, I got a better one.
Okay. I pulled up the reviews. I was curious, and we'll play the Rotten Tomatoes game in a second. But the very first one I saw, a fair amount of Ice Road Vengeance feels like it came out of an AI brain, including the horrible title. So that's just like encompasses all the things we've been saying. Ice Road Vengeance, it's the wrong title for this movie. It doesn't make any sense. It's just very rare, and there's nobody bothered to change it. Like the artist already did the work. Yeah, whatever. Nobody's paying attention. But yeah, this is. Do we think we get a trilogy? Is there going to be a third? Are we going to get a third Ice Road? Like, I need some closure.
If so, we helped contribute to it.
I will say too, where was this shot? Because wherever they shot, this is why they made this movie. Because wherever they shot this, it was actually pretty beautiful. I assume it wasn't Nepal. Like it was made
probably somewhere in Europe. But that's a good question. I'm going to give it a quick Google and see where
one of the Czechistans or something like that, where they could film movies for $4.
Yeah, I assume it really wasn't Nepal though.
Like you're not supposed to pick these kind of movies apart. But again, the other thing that like dude just flew across the world, the Kathmandu. And like taxis are like, yeah, we'll take you to the city center. And he's like, no, I'll walk. He just flew across the country, across the world. He's like, you guys are trying to charge me too much. He's like, I'm just going to walk. And then he eventually made it, but we don't know how long does that take?
Climb Mount Everest the next day or anything, Dean. He doesn't need that.
He needed to save his energy. It's not like he's a 65-year-old man.
65. He wishes he was 65.
How old is he? 68? He's not 70, is he?
Liam Neeson,
he's got to be in his 70s.
Oh, is he in his 70s?
He's got it. He's closer to 80 than he is 65.
73.
So, on that note, they at the end, was that a love story there at the end? Was that a love interest?
Apparently.
Did you feel at any moment like these two should fall in love?
No.
When he wanted to learn her roundhouse kick. Because that's what 73-year-old Liam Neeson needs to do.
Him getting out of the car was so good though, when like they kind of have that moment and he just goes, okay, and like gets out. It's like, what are we?
And like she's like, it's not a Bill Belichick situation, but she's like, I don't know, 35, 40. I don't know what she is, but okay. But there's just nothing about that movie suggested like these two should fall in love. But whatever. I guess that tested well with audiences or terrible, or they didn't bother to test.
Buddy, they didn't test this movie.
They were like, well, War of the Worlds came out on Amazon, so it can't be the worst movie that came out this year.
I still haven't seen that. No. I saved that for this show specifically, but I don't know.
Oh,
it's definitely not Money Plane bad either. Like Money Plane is like, it's like if you just gave us a bunch of money and we made a movie. Like that's
no, I would make a better movie than that, dude.
Like we just shot it. Like this, at least, like this was clearly made by someone that grew up in the 90s and like I said, a TNT budget. This is like would have been like made for TNT. It's just that now there's every streaming movie. Like
it's like you said, the first 30 minutes really feels like that's the direction it's headed until they pivot quickly. And the first one, by the way, it feels like that too, except for the entire time. I promise you, I don't think there are any redeeming qualities from the first Ice Road, even though there is a lot more ice. So let's see the third one. Maybe the least amount of ice in the third one.
Oh, what was the tagline on this one? Because it was amazing.
Oh, it was really good.
Well, if you want to look that up, the other thing that you guys should have brought up.
The first tagline for the first movie was "This mission's on thin ice."
That's pretty good. That's good. Yes, they built the whole movie out of the tagline.
Yeah, you guys brought it up in the chat.
I do have
But-
questions for Daigle if I can give my thoughts, but it is prefaced by I needed more information from the first one. Are they like,
Wow.
what's his brother's name again? Is like Gusto or something weird, like something with a G.
Something like that, yeah.
Are they like long lost brothers who did not grow up together? Or are they supposed to be just like American born and raised, both of them?
I believe they were raised, but quite honestly, like I vaguely remember because I was so turned off by the first movie. Like I'm telling you, it's one that tried to take itself very seriously as an action movie, which is why it was less fun than this one.
I knew immediately in this one that it was not to be taken seriously when everyone kept referring to Liam Neeson as the American. Like, and it wasn't even just like a thing, like the locals were calling the white guy the American, because I feel like that happens in a lot of foreign countries. Like they're going to assume you're American until proven otherwise. But it was like the British or Australian, whatever he was, tour guide. We're calling him the American, but he was not changing his voice at all. He still had the same Irish accent. And then his brother, we see the flashback, we hear his voice, and just a fully normal American accent with no hint of Irish whatsoever. I thought that was absolutely hilarious. The lack of emotion from the daughter when the dad died was one of my funny notes. I feel like I had so many things that I wanted to make fun of, but because I didn't write them down, I barely remember what any of them are. But I'm just going to chime in at some point if I remember a couple of the funny things that I wanted to bring up.
His brother being an E5 sergeant, even though he's been in the military clearly for 35 years. These are the little things I pick up on when watching. And he's a ranger, and he's just a mechanic.
Oh, I remember the other thing I wanted to bring up is like the thing that it reminded me of was like the most recent Jason Statham movie, A Working Man, was like just the most Jason Statham of Jason Statham movies, where it's like, I got out of the game, I retired, I don't want to get back in the game. I'm a construction worker, I'm a working man.
Not the beekeeper.
Okay, fine, I'll get back in the game. That's what it felt like this was, but it like his thing wasn't that he was some special ops agent trained in some crazy shit. It was like, I know how to drive on icy roads. I should probably stop these mercenaries.
Yeah.
Like at no point did he have, it was the opposite of Taken. He had no set of special skills. He was just a guy who knew how to drive on icy roads.
Yeah,
and
well,
was
you're
like,
not getting here, TJ.
Time to step in and be an action hero.
Is there a Venn diagram that those people that watch that Ice Road Truckers that are big into this series? I would imagine. Is that the audience? Is that who they're shooting for? You guys know that
I didn't
show?
even know that was a specific job. Like I didn't know trucking on specifically icy roads was a job.
It's
You
probably
don't know
a
that?
spectacular
You
skill.
live in Saskatchewan. You
You're in
should know this.
Saskatoon.
I mean,
think
that's
you did
all
on
of
the
our
side.
truckers. Everybody's prepped for icy roads because that's just the roads half the time.
This movie's
By the
too
way-
long, by the way. That's the biggest crime this
Well,
movie.
my biggest thing, I texted in the thread when I went to turn it on, and I was like, hour 52. I was like, what are we doing here?
Yeah. Action movies, comedies, horror movies should all be 90 minutes with very few exceptions. And if you are making that exception, it better be for a goddamn good reason. And
You better
Ice
be
Road
Tom Cruise
Vengeance.
making Mission Impossible.
yeah,
John Wick is very long, right? Isn't Wick like 3
Yeah.
hours? Some of those Wick movies.
But
those-
the last Mission Impossible though was too long. They just
Yeah, it
they
was.
wrote themselves into a corner.
this movie, by the way, was shot in Australia, Victoria, Australia, which was transformed to resemble a Nepali village, and also at Dockland Studios in Melbourne. So Australia. There you go. Good call.
that's why Liam Neeson did this movie. It's like,
Yeah.
I'll
Australia
go
is
to
very
Australia
lovely.
for a little bit.
By the way, the original the Ice Road wasn't completely hated by critics. 43% from critics, 31% from the audience. So I guess it was not. Well, we'll see. I'm not trying to steer you guys in that direction when it comes to the Rotten Tomatoes game. We'll get to momentarily, but yeah, we have anything else? But was
Do you
the
have anything else,
son?
Dean?
Was the son trying to hit on the girl that just had her father die? Was there a moment when he was hitting on her? I feel like there was. It's like her dad just died. Like, give her a moment.
And still the second, like, it's still not the most weird relationship in that movie.
It's the second least.
I mean, his
Because there
dad
was a
just
hint to
died
that, right?
too. His dad
Yeah.
just died too. It's a bonding experience.
Yeah.
I think it was in between. I think it was before his dad died. And after, I think, but yeah, he probably knew. His dad basically foreshadowed it. But
Did you like how the part where his dad died and Liam Neeson's just on the side of that bus for 30 minutes during that scene? They let it. Someone still operated the crane to let it down, even though there's no one at the crane to let it down. You're just like, oh, it just did it. Okay.
I don't know how that. Yeah, I had a lot of questions like that, but come on, you bought the ticket. You know what you're getting into when you click yes on Ice Road Vengeance. This is what you're getting into. You really can't nitpick too much, I suppose.
You can though, because all I really expected from the movie was icy roads and vengeance, and I didn't get either of the things.
Well, it might as well have been in the desert. Like I don't understand.
Technically, it was if it was off.
Does nobody think it's strange that they're calling it that? Like, okay.
I love it.
I'm pulling up more. Well, I don't want to read all the reviews, but the reviewers get a little snarky. I wanted to see if we had a good snarky one, but
It's not us.
Oh, I'm sure.
they're not. The film makes no impression, and for nearly 2 full hours offers up one question: where the hell are the ice roads? Maybe it's a 4D chess distraction from how pointless and bland this all is. It really is. That's really distracting. I'm waiting for the ice road the entire. Maybe it's that's like the big closing scene. No.
The name is the only thing connecting it to the original, because I assume the original had ice roads.
It opens with
let us know.
like a tanker driving on thin ice. Like that's the whole
Hell
point.
yeah.
If I started this movie, you guys watch this movie start to finish, and then I say, okay, I didn't tell you what the name of the movie was. How many guesses would you need to get to Ice Road Vengeance?
The limit does not exist.
Like you just never get there.
I might get road. That might be the one word I get in there.
Yeah, it's something to do with road, kind of road pun of some sort. But and the vengeance, no, not really. He didn't get. Like, it wasn't. I thought for sure it's gonna be like whoever killed his brother. He was gonna that they were gonna be involved, right? And I'm sure Daigle, who killed his brother, they were not involved in this movie in any way, right? I don't think.
No.
Okay.
The bad guys from the first one did not return. No.
Yeah, like we couldn't get a cameo.
It was for Spike. He did it for Spike.
All right, let's throw some scores on it.
That's why he had an Australian accent. Now it all makes sense. Now I know why they just hired a dude, like a local.
They just grabbed the dude guy.
That's a great point.
We'll write it in. He'll just be
The bus driver. Yeah.
How weird? Just last thing about this. How weird was the bathroom scene when he has to go put his brother into the different container? And just how haphazardly he's doing it over the toilet.
He's
like the Big Lebowski.
Doing this, he's like, "Oh, sorry, bro." And he's like wiping him off the toilet. I'm like, is this part of his Naked Gun reboot? Like, what is this scene?
Incredible.
It was kind of strange. Yes. And I don't know if that's how it would go at the airport. If you have an urn. How did Paul Bearer travel? Do you know the wrestling guys? What did Paul Bearer do on the road? Daigle or Rob? Any road stories from Paul Bearer? And would he check the urn? I'm not really sure, but I feel like that would have been I don't know. They may do. All right. Let's play the Rotten Tomatoes game. Rich, you're going to go first. What did the critics score Ice Road Vengeance?
5%.
And the audience?
Audience is higher. No, audience is definitely higher on this. I don't know how much higher, but it's higher than the critics.
Okay. What's higher than 5?
I'll say 30%.
Okay, so 5 and 30. We're locked in for 5 and 30. Daigle?
5 and 30.
Gosh. What would critics give this movie? That's a great question. 9%. And out of 10?
Oh, out of 100.
Oh, out of 100.
This is out of 100.
I mean, yes, out of 10. Though.
So you stop at 10 if you want.
Gosh. 63.
Oh,
63.
Rob?
I've never seen somebody throw this game on purpose, but we might have to call the review board in.
It's like one of those Cleveland Guardians relief pitchers on the first pitch.
11% for the critics because they have some respect for Liam Neeson, but it's waning after this movie. And 19% because at least 19% of people that watch movies are idiots. So that's where we're gonna go. I'm one of those 19%, by the way.
Yeah.
I will go 16% critics, 23% audience.
What's interesting is if I told you the number of critics that ranked it, you'd have a much. So only 23 critics dared rank it. So like you can kind of figure if it's 1, it's like 6 or 7%. If it's 2, it's 13%. Only 23 critics dared review Ice Road Vengeance.
I'll apply to Rotten Tomatoes next year, and then I'll make it 24.
Well, there you go. Yeah, I would imagine you should be accredited pretty easily. Is that a whole process, DJ?
Rotten Tomatoes is annoying with it because really, like, for Rotten Tomatoes, all that the number one requirement is just quantity. So it's like I think they require like 300 reviews in the last 3 years to be written, and they want it on at least 3 different websites. Like it's basically just like if you've written a shit ton in the last few years, then you'll be eligible. If not, you won't be.
Okay, so 23 reviews from critics, 2 liked it, so 13%, and only 250 audience members because again, it just came out on Netflix. We don't have a monster sample, but 24% of the audience. I think TJ might have been closest. I think TJ said 23, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So, and Rich, you said 5%, and I think somebody said 9% for the critics. So we were dancing around there a little bit. Okay, let's knock out IMDb. TJ, you go first. 1 through 10, IMDb score.
3.7.
Rob?
2.9.
Jeez. John?
2-1.
Rich?
4.
Yeah, Rich plays it smart. He had a lot of numbers to work with. Some that just aren't realistic, obviously. I will say that The Ice Road got a 5.6. And that's the original. The sequel, Ice Road Vengeance.
You sent that earlier, and I kind of played that in my head because you sent me because I couldn't believe it was a sequel, that we were watching a sequel. And then you sent me the link to the first one, and then obviously it had the picture had the 5.6 on there, and I was like, well, if that one is a 5.6, this one is probably a little worse.
It's a 4.8. 4.8 on IMDb. So
we all undershot it.
Let's give it a score, and then we'll talk about our next movie that we're going to be watching. TJ, you want to give me a Marvel character? It doesn't be Marvel, just some sort of comic book character.
Yeah, it's certainly not going to be a Marvel character. This is Zach from Sky High. He's
Who's that?
If you've seen Sky High, it's a Kurt Russell movie. Very, very fond of it from my youth. It was actually one that when I first started babysitting, it was one that the kids that I was babysitting always wanted to watch. So I actually saw it probably like a few dozen times. But this is Zach from Sky High. He can glow in the dark. That's his superpower. He goes to superhero school, gets put with the sidekicks because what can he do? He can glow in the dark. That's it. And this movie made me giggle a couple times. And that's it. That's really all it provided for me.
By the way, Sky High, 74% in Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh, it's great. It's a really fun movie. It's
never seen it.
Movie. It's a kids movie, but like it's a really fun kids movie.
I think it came out in 2004. That came out right in the heyday of me.
Exactly.
Blockbuster. Yeah.
I have a friend who runs who has a podcast called the Movie Draft Podcast, where it's just like a whole bunch of different things that they'll pick a year and draft movies for it. They'll pick a genre. They'll pick like super obscure things and draft them from movies. But this last one I listened to today was the 2005 movie draft, and somebody picked it, so that's why it was in my head.
99, by the way, is if you ever kind of go through it, 99 is the best year for movies, I think. Absolutely absurd, the movies that came out that year.
It was a hot one.
John, what do you got for me? Wrestler.
When I think of old action wrestlers, two come to mind in Undertaker, who still understood timing with like the pandemic match again that was pre-recorded with AJ Styles that's memed everywhere, for example, or the other meme where he showed up behind The Rock during WrestleMania last time. The thing is, though, Undertaker really never had comedic gimmicks. Like, he was just kind of always cool. And then same goes for the other wrestler I think of, Goldberg, that did come back. And even when he just did those beefy matchups, like against Brock Lesnar, they were really fun because it was just two beefy guys running into each other. It was amazing. But the older comedic version of Goldberg is Gilbert. And so I will choose Gilbert as my representative for this movie.
I don't want to pull a Rob, but I was thinking that Diesel came to mind, but I think Diesel was too good of a wrestler, right? Is that not?
Oh, it would have been fake Diesel if it was any Diesel.
Rob,
I wasn't sure where you were gonna go, Daigle. I was trying to think of it today. I was like, is he gonna go like old wrestler that shouldn't have been wrestling anymore? Is this like Ric Flair and Ric Flair's last match when he actually had almost a heart attack and passed out in the match? Is it John Tenta when he did a dark match and he just didn't look like Earthquake anymore? I just wasn't sure where you were going to go with it.
Well, I toyed with it because remember Shawn Michaels came out of retirement for Saudi Arabia Blood Money as well, but it wasn't funny. That's the thing. You had to find the comedy in it. So Gilbert was always good for a joke.
The name of the pay-per-view was Blood Money. I know it wasn't, but in my head for a second, like, that can't be true. But I see what you're doing. there.
I think it was Crown Jewel, but it could have been Blood Money. Yeah.
That's actually a great call, Daigle, because you could have just said that whole match was this movie because of how like terrible it was.
Yeah.
And one thing I thought of earlier today, I was like, this movie is the gimmick battle royal from like WrestleMania 17, where they just brought all the old bad gimmicks back. Where they had Brother Love and they had the Iron Sheik who was in it. Mm-hmm. And like I was like, that's what this is. It's just not good nostalgia.
I also love that for a few minutes in any day that we're living, you think about my wrestling score for the movie at the end of a podcast. That gives me joy.
There you go.
It's important. Rob, 1 through 5, what do you got?
2-1, maybe. Needs more Seagal. This movie, like, there's not a lot of movies that need more Seagal. This movie needed more Seagal.
Rob, could you promise if you win one time this year soon, can you is Seagal in the conversation? Is Seagal
watch Under Siege?
Yeah. Could you give us a Seagal movie?
So I'll tell you guys the movie I'm considering for when
you gotta
I
win.
No, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it.
No, it's I have other stuff for October, but if I win outside of October, I'm considering The Quick and the Dead, and I just need to see how many of you have actually seen it.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, speaking of, did y'all hear that there's another Sisu coming out in a month?
Oh, hell yeah.
Yes, so we have to beat Dean somehow, but when we beat Dean, we may have another Sisu to review on this show later this year.
I want no part of this.
So my score, I do it on 100 points. And this is a callback to my gripe with Letterboxd. Letterboxd does not let you. Letterboxd, they want you to either say this is a half a star or a full star, and it's better than a half a star, but it's not a full. This movie does not deserve a full star. It deserves 3/4 of a star, but Letterboxd won't let me do that. But this game, I can give it 15 out of 100 points, and that's what we're getting. 15 out of 100 points. Rich, give me a.
That's not a 1/4 of a star, and in this game, you still can't do a 1/4 of a star.
Wait, say it again?
1/4 of a star would be 12.5, which doesn't fit your scale ranking, so you actually can't do a 1/4 of a star.
Hold on. Is my math incorrect? Do I need to
You
calculate?
can do whatever you want. You can give
Mine's
it
probably
a
wrong.
third of a mushroom if you want to.
I just wanted to take another shot at Letterboxd because it tilts me that you can't put 3/4 of a star, which is the difference between 3.5 stars and 4 stars is immense.
It is.
And I don't like choosing. Rich, do you have a tight end?
Yeah, so this movie, while not good, I still appreciated it and its efforts. Also, in honor of Liam Neeson, who was too old to be doing this movie as well. I think it's fitting to wrap it up, and I think this is a Mercedes Lewis. Played till he was 40 years old. Really didn't do much. Like, he was just on teams like towards the end of his career. And that's kind of what this is. Like, I appreciated that he was still out there though. I was like, good for Mercedes. Every time I saw Mercedes Lewis, I was like, oh yeah, good for him. And that's kind of how I felt about Liam Neeson making this. I was like, you know what? All right, good for you, man.
Mercedes Lewis played from 2006 to 2024. His best year, it looks like, was 2010. He had 700 yards and 10 touchdowns. Wow. For Jacksonville. He had a 10 touchdown season. Yeah. And he played after 10 years or so with Jacksonville. He went to Green Bay for 6 years, and he finished his career up to age 40 with the Chicago Bears for a couple seasons. Look at that. All right. So shout out to that is good. That is a good call for sure. Mercedes Lewis. Okay. This movie this week, I gave you guys a choice last time. No choice this time. Right. We have the momentum. I saw it streaming. There's no chances. I hope you guys haven't seen this yet. If you have, you recently saw it because it just came out. I'm super excited to watch it. We're going to keep the Liam Neeson momentum going. We're going to watch The Naked Gun.
Yeah. All right. I'm in.
All right.
Yeah. I love The Naked Gun. As a child, I probably saw the original Naked Gun more than possibly every other movie in my life. And it probably shaped my personality in some way, for better or worse. But it's streaming now on Paramount. Does everybody have access to Paramount? Hopefully, maybe. But is everybody good with that? I don't want it to be a dictatorship, but you gotta come for the king and take me down. And I want to make this threat. How about this? If I keep winning, we're going to keep rolling out Liam Neeson, for better or worse.
I respect that.
That's good.
Yeah, I thought the bit for you, Dean, was I feel like every show on the Pick Six this year, my favorite running bit is you seem to be getting a little bit lower in your chair each week.
Oh,
I was
really?
just hoping at one point it was just the top of your glasses on screen.
Bad job by me. Yeah, I'm significantly shrinking, I suppose. I'm not really sure, but yeah, I guess my cam was not set up perfectly. But we'll get that straight next. It's not a bit, but it's a fun bit. It's not what I was doing though. But is everybody good with has anybody seen it? Has anybody seen it?
Nope.
I've only seen like a clip or two of the new one. I'm curious if TJ's ever seen the original.
That's a good question. TJ?
I've seen the original, and I saw this in early August.
Oh.
Surely you can't be serious. That's Airplane. Never mind. All right. So Daigle, you're good with Naked Gun?
I'll watch it again.
Oh yeah. This is the time of the year where we need some comedies. We need all these Amari DiMercato blurbs need some laughs.
I was laughing because Dean was like 23 people wrote up a review on this, and I was like, I wrote about Chris Moore's snap share earlier, so like, what the fuck?
Same thing, really. Honestly, if you really just
exactly.
The endorphins need some laughs right now. So yeah, we'll happily take it.
Well, I got
Rob, tell the people where they can find you, Rob.
I have to win because we have to do a horror movie soon because it's October.
Mm-hmm.
So with that theme in mind, where you
Is
can
Weapons
find
out
me,
yet?
Oh, dude, I hope so. You guys have to see Weapons.
I didn't see it. My son said he saw it and couldn't look up. He said he couldn't look up. He kept looking away.
Yeah, don't watch any. If you haven't seen Weapons, don't watch any trailers. Don't talk to anybody. Just watch the movie. Is what I will say. Where you can find me is at Hometown Ghost Stories. It's spooky season. If you're looking for a little bit of a break from football, something to listen to with your significant other, come over. We're dropping a ton of new episodes, a ton of new investigations. And if you are in the Massachusetts area, October 24th, there's a live show in Weymouth, Massachusetts, $20 at Barrel House Z, which is a brewery. Come get drinks, come listen to music, come listen to ghost stories, come hang out.
TJ?
agentsoffandom.com on YouTube, on socials, wherever you get your podcasts. Right now, we are having weekly shows, one talking about comic books, one talking about Gen V, in the boys universe, and then another talking about Peacemaker. Recently had an interview with Brad Winterbaum, who is the head of Marvel Studios television, animation, and streaming. That's up everywhere. And then on the most recent episode, we talked a little One Battle After Another, which I got to see yesterday, as well as Chad Powers, which is now streaming on Disney Plus in here in Canada, in Hulu in the States. And talking about all that stuff. Reviews up on the website. Check it out.
Shout out to everybody still hanging with us on the YouTube or listening to wherever you're listening to. Do hit that like button. Do subscribe. Turn on those notifications. Win something for week 5. for Rich Hribar, John Daigle, for Rob Coakley, for TJ Zwarich, Mercedes Lewis, for Liam Neeson. I was Dean. We're out of here. Go win something. We're out of here. Holler.